Mic check 1 2. What's up, everyone? Salutes to everyone that's in the chat. Okay, welcome to Knowledge and Relationships Live Talk. This is your boy M3, and before I begin, let me go ahead and I'm gonna play some good music real quick because, of course, tonight we have a very special and lovely guest who's willing to give her time so that we could actually have a good, pleasant live talk. So, let me make sure we're good. Somebody said we have an echo. I want to make sure there's no echo on my end in the background. If there is an echo, let me know, people in the chat. But other than that, let me go ahead. I'm going to bring in our guests. So let's go ahead and we're going to welcome, because I know that's who you came to see, Miss Queen Shiba. Salute, salute.
Salute to you, King.
Thank you. Queen Shiba, do I have an echo on my end? I just want to make sure we're good.
That was me.
Oh, okay.
That was me.
I was getting a little worried because every time when we get to the starting, it's always some kind of small technicalities. So I want to make sure we're up to par. But okay, so since we're good, let me go ahead. I'm going to bring in my network manager and also my good best friend, Mr. Best in the World.
Yo, what's good? Queen Shiba, it's an honor to have you here. M3, you know what it is. Let's get it going, y'all. Salute to everybody in the chat land. You know what's up, man. Definitely. Peace to the panel, peace to everybody else.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Well, Queen Shiba, first and foremost, thank you for tuning in to Knowledge and Relationships, allowing us to the opportunity and grace us with your presence. So we're definitely grateful for you for that. So, and the support of your supporters as well too. So shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Yes. It will be hard for me to highlight each and every comment, but just know that you are loved and we are watching, guys. So salutes to everybody. All right. So before we get to the questions, all right, because I got some good questions to get to know you. But first and foremost, how are you doing tonight?
You know what? I am doing so much better, but I ain't gonna lie. Today was a hell of a day for me. And I told my husband, I said, today I had a bad day. And then about 30 seconds later, I said, hold up. Let me correct that. I had a very challenging day today. But guess what? I'm here. I got through it. I navigated through it. I used those coping skills, those coping strategies, and it worked. At the end of the day, it worked. Now, it took me a long time to get over that anxiety and all of that I was feeling, right, from the world coming at me, but it worked. I hung in there. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Well, I know we all going to have our good days and we're going to have our bad days, but besides, despite the bad that's going around, I'm glad that you are up here. So, definitely big ups, for you to still, come through. And, my hope and best wishes is that, when the bad days do come, hopefully it pass away expeditiously. So.
Queen Shiba, I got a question for you. So, do you think that in our community, which is, the Black community, or people of color, do you think that we need to start being more transparent when we're feeling these things, when we're feeling, overwhelmed spiritually or emotionally or mentally? Should that be something that we are expressing more and that we are basically letting our voices be heard, that these things are actually going on? So, yes.
Absolutely. I think it's detrimental to aging well, living well, right? And also being able to pour into our children, our friends, and our family. But not only is it important that we're able to speak up, but we got to start making space for folks to be able to say what they need to say without us interrupting or giving them a remedy and just letting them say, I'm not good. And just kind of holding that silence. I think a lot of times we want to fill in the gaps. Oh, you're not? Well, just sit there with them. Because most times they're processing their heart, their mind, all of that stuff, they're processing, and just hold a little bit of space. You'll be shocked at what a little bit of silence can do for somebody. And just, even if you say, I'm here, I'm just listening, take your time. But yes, to answer your question, I think it's detrimental that we start speaking up. And it's funny that you asked that because we were just talking about that. I have a members only, right? A members only subscription. We were just talking about that in our Wednesday morning coffee chat. So you're right on time.
Wow. Oh, perfect. I'm glad that I was able to ask you that. Definitely. And thank you for answering that too, because that's something I advocate for, is just, creating a safe environment for our people to speak transparently and honestly, and them giving their hearts, you know what I mean, and them also expressing what's on their mind. So I want to give a special shout out to Setting the Record Straight Network. I have to shout him out in the group because without him, this would not be possible. Salute to Daryl Long. Thank you, my brother. Definitely appreciate you, man. Much love.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So salutes to Daryl Long. Thank you, brother. Yeah. Okay. So this is definitely going to be a great conversation because I feel like at this moment, we're definitely on the same page of trying to create a safe space for people to come and express themselves. However, we do also understand that, we're still under, someone else's platform, where it be YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Rumble. So I know through each platform, we got to go through the rules. But this is why we're trying to make sure that, if anything were to happen, you'll have other platforms to really go to, and we'll still be active. But we want to make sure that, in knowledge and relationships, that everyone, they come in, feel welcome, and then they leave feeling happy, excited, whatever emotion that you choose to feel. But we definitely want to make sure that we provide whatever solutions that we're capable of doing.
I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead, because I got a list of questions, and I do have to give a shout out to Kings and Dreams because I was on his panel the other day, and he had some really good questions, and it made me want to step my game up and revise some of my questions. So thank you for that. The first question I want to ask is that, please share a brief overview of your background and how you became known as Queen Shiba.
Oh, that's deep. Y'all ain't ready for that one. Let me mentally analyze which parts I want to share.
Okay.
So when you say share a brief overview of my background, are you talking about my social media background, my personal background, or my professional background?
Hit me with all three, right? The social, matter of fact, however you choose. We want to make you feel comfortable. So you could choose social media, your personal background. What was the other one you said?
Social media, personal, or professional. My professional.
Yeah.
However
you want to start first.
So when you think about,
I think they all kind of. I'm sorry. I think they all kind of interblend, right? I'm sorry, Queen Shiba.
No, you're fine.
Kind of interblend together, right?
To me, I would think so, but
Yeah.
I'll start with Queen Shiba. How I chose that name.
Okay.
From an early age, I was from a very young age, I was exposed to books, reading and writing as a young Black girl, right? I was raised on an island. A lot of people don't know I'm an island girl. I'm straight from an island. Yeah, I'm from Galveston Island, one of the very few islands in Texas. So I came up fishing, crabbing. I've lived in a house of boys, so I'd never known any fear. My mother never inflicted any limitations on me. I don't ever remember her saying anything negative to me. Because you're a girl, you can't do this. Because you're a girl, you can't do that. So because of that, I used to walk to the library, which is a few blocks from my house, as a little girl all the time. And I found myself getting lost in books and the stories. And I was able to create a vivid imagination of what the words were. So, and not only that, on my dad's side of the family, they were heavily religious, right? So they pushed religion on me. And I learned a lot about religion at an extremely young age. And it was called, I learned from this book called My Book of Bible Stories, because my dad's side was Jehovah's Witnesses. And that's how I came to know about Queen Shiba and King Solomon, and how she traveled many, 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 many miles to go hear him talk, to hear the king speak and hear his wisdom, and just to be around him, to learn. So when you think about Queen Shiba, she's a woman that's open to wisdom. Not a woman full of wisdom, but a woman that's open to receiving wisdom. And she came bearing gifts. So that's something that really stuck on my heart as a young girl, when I would like read the book of Bible stories, and I would think about the kings and the feasts and how they would summon people. One thing that stuck to me is they had a deep sense of community, a deep sense of giving, and a deep desire for wisdom and learning. So that's how I came up with the name Queen Shiba. But here's the thing. Shiba is actually a part of my sister's name, not my name.
So
okay. So my sister's name is Toshiba. So then so I'm already knowing about Queen Shiba. So in a way, I'm representing two important staples in my life. And that's how I came to have the name Queen Shiba. It's always been on my heart, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. Social media, I've been heavily involved in social media for quite some time. And it started off on Facebook, right? Many, many, many years ago. And I started pouring into people and just releasing all of my knowledge about health and wellness for free. I created a 90-day fitness plan, a 90-day nutritional plan that completely blew up right before. I cannot remember the name of that exercise program.
P90X?
Yes. Right. Somebody, if I would have,
yeah, P90X, that's what's called.
Trademarked my stuff. I was out, but I was giving it all away. You can go back and fact check me on Facebook. People from all over the world were doing my diet and my exercise and sending me before and after pictures. At this point, I had already graduated from college early. With my undergraduate degree, I was flying I've always been free and wild at heart too. And I was flying all over the world as an international flight attendant. Here I am writing dynamic fitness plans and nutritional plans for people, but I had no formal dietitian background, nutrition background, or fitness background. I was only a collegiate athlete. I played volleyball in college, by the way. And I'm just going off of natural talent, but also tying that back to what I said, biblical principles of giving. And it started to change people's lives. And at that point, I was dating this guy. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to quit my job. And I'm going to start my own business. And I did that. I was flying for 12 years as an international flight attendant. I quit my job. I started my own business as a personal trainer and a personal executive health coach, because one thing that I learned in that moment, executive clients were drawn to me. Made the most money I've ever made in my life. And that's when I knew I can do anything I want to do. I literally can do anything I want to do. And not because I say so, because I have the discipline and the mental focus to match it. So that's just a little bit about who I am.
Wow, that's a lot, but a lot of good stuff too. So I'm gonna just do like a small recap. This is how much I got, because that's why I had to write my notes into this. So, you know, a girl from the islands. Okay. So it all started for you reading a lot of books. You know, your background is basically you have parents that are Jehovah's Witnesses. Are you still a Jehovah's Witness yourself?
I was never a Jehovah's Witness. Remember, I was a kid. I didn't have a choice. My dad's family pushed it on me. But I'm glad they did, because I would have never developed an appetite for learning and reading.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And look, reading is fundamental, people. I'm telling you right now. Okay. And here's the thing. Okay, so you said you kind of so Queen Shiba came from of course, reading all the books, especially biblical books. But then you also have a sister named Toshiba. So when you started calling yourself Queen Shiba, how did your sister feel about that? Did she this girl right here?
I don't care. I told my mom. I said, Mama, I got my page on YouTube. It's named after Shiba. They don't care. They just actually my nickname is Meek, Meek. Because I used to be really, really quiet as a little girl and read a lot. But I had to come out of that really quickly because I was a little tall, skinny girl, very lanky. And that caused you, you know, you're looking different, you're looking awkward. That caused you to get picked on real quick. So I had to learn how to throw hands real quick, which is why I can get on some of these panels and kind of go, you know, toe to toe verbally. But I learned really quickly that being different in the Black community gets you picked on. And that's still relevant to date.
Yeah, it doesn't matter like how you could be tall, lanky, you could be short, fat, you could have a certain type of color of pigmentation. It's like kids will always gonna find a way to roast you, no matter
Adults
what.
too.
Well, yeah, especially like YouTube adults as well.
Yeah.
So okay, and then yeah, that's good. Like, okay, so because you was talking about the 90-day fitness, almost kind of like similar to like the P90X or whatever. And here's the thing, like I know, like, you know, we sometimes people, they come up with ideas with the intent to, like, you know, help to like give, because, you know, when you're actually following like those like biblical or spiritual principles, like pretty much life is about giving and then receiving. So whatever you put out there, let's say people, you know, if whatever you put out there to the universe, eventually it's still gonna come back to you no matter what. But that's good that, like, you know, like you had that type of, you know, that knowledge, that skill, and you were still willing to, like, you know, sacrifice, like, you know, a precision to try to go after your dreams. And not a lot of people have that type of courage to do that. So definitely applaud you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Salutes to everybody in chat.
And her story, your story, Queen Shiba, is very similar to the late, great Sidney Poitier. He came from a small island called Cat Island, which is near the Bahamas. He read a lot of books. He had a very, very humble beginning. His family was very into religion and things of that nature, and he was very, very well studied. And we seen the great thing that Sidney Poitier did, you know what I mean, you know, throughout the world and for our people and for everything else. You know, one of the greatest actors, and he was renowned as the greatest actor for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And he stepped in and he basically just represented. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to all my peoples throughout the world. Shout out to all the people on the islands and abroad. Like, I'm telling you, you know, there's a lot of rich culture of our people everywhere. So yeah, it definitely reminded me of that because I'm reading his book. Actually, speaking of books, I'm reading one of his books called A Measure of a Man. Great book. Definitely read it, especially if you're a man. Definitely read that book. It definitely teaches you about manhood and what it takes to really build character. So yes.
Oh, wow.
So salute to the island people, for real, for real.
That's a heck of a compliment. Thank you.
All right, anytime. All right, let's go ahead and get to like the second question.
You're welcome. Sorry, my mic was off. Sorry about that. You're welcome.
Yeah, second question is, okay, so I think we kind of you kind of covered this part, right? Because I was going to ask, right, you know, what inspired you to be a social media influencer, but you know, after what you told me, as far as like, you know, from reading books to helping other people, I mean, it's very apparent that, you know, probably why you joined social media. But if there's anything that I missed or probably forgot, feel free to, like, you know, chime in and let me know.
Yeah, sure. So I did what I did on Facebook, you know, because it came naturally.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I'm like, okay, now this new wave of influencers and content creators were coming up. Now I'm on Instagram and I see these people posing and modeling and getting these brand deals for merchandise and corporations. And I naturally thought that was the way I was supposed to go, or I was called to go. So let me tell you something. I do not mind investing in my learning. So I paid for a brand course by a young lady that I came to admire on Instagram, doing a hell of a job for herself. And I kept thinking, that's not me. I can't see myself holding a can of Sprite. All right. It just didn't feel like I fit the part. But I knew I wanted to have a platform, but I didn't know what my niche would be. I did not know at all. So when I came to YouTube, I said, okay, I love reality.
Yeah.
In particular, Love and Marriage Huntsville. But I was drawn in because of the toxic situations that was going on the show, and I felt like ain't nobody gonna say nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get on YouTube. I'm never gonna show my face because I was very uncomfortable. You know, when you see the epitome of beauty, I'm like, I don't look like that. So I tell you what, I'll stay behind the camera. I'm not gonna come out, but I'm just gonna speak from my heart, from a psychological perspective, and I'm also going to hone in on the behavioral traits from the Black, you know, from the Black perspective, the psychological perspective, and the behavioral perspective, because that's my background. And I'm gonna talk about these behaviors that nobody's talking about and or addressing, that people continue to get rewarded for in reality TV. Because I'm like, is this what we're doing? There's some other Black people you could pick that are doing phenomenal things, but you know what? They're not big enough. So that's how I got my entryway and my foot in the door with YouTube. And then I one day I said, you know what, God, this is your platform. This is me, like in the background, you know, just in my home. I said, this is your platform. Because if you leave it up to me, I'm gonna say what I want to say. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Hey, when he leave it up to us, we do our own thing. He leave it up to us. You know what I'm saying? Like we gonna go off the rails.
Hey, Daryl Long, I see you, King. Thank you so much. He always supports me. Thank you, Daryl. And Jordan, I see you. So I was like, you got to help me, Lord, because there's a fire in me. And if I go too far, I can take it there. But I need you to help filter me out. And my platform belongs to you. So at one point, when I would create, I would record content. I'm about to hit send, and God said, your agenda is wrong. I'm like, no, I'm going to release that. That's going to be a hit. And he's like, don't release it. And then I just started saying, all right. And I just kept saying, take me where you need me to be, grow this platform. Then my husband started praying for me. And that's how I came up with the notion of a private membership, because I also understand the data and the algorithm of YouTube, because I'm a product developer. You can't switch on your market overnight or you will lose them. So I slowly started introducing pieces of me and what I really want to pour into the people behind the scenes. And that's where I'm currently at now.
Wow. Okay. That right there, pretty much like, you know, like a little bit answers like to like number 3, right? Because we are like a product of our own brand.
She answered both questions at once. Man, that's what's up.
Exactly, right? So yeah, thank you. And that is like wonderful to try to, you know, focus on something that you see a problem and you have a solution to try to pretty much fix that problem. You know what I mean? Whereas other content creators, and there's a question about that too, so I don't want to jump too far ahead. But just know that there's going to be a question that's going to ask you like, hey, you know, what makes you different from other content creators. But let me get to the number 4. We're going to get there.
Okay.
I got a question for Queen Shiba myself.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Best.
So Queen Shiba, you know what I mean? I always talk about the importance of allowing and hearing your inner person, your inner man or your inner woman, you know what I mean? Letting God speak to you. Can you break down really the truly importance of that, you know, so that people can know that and they can hear that?
Say the last part.
I would say, can you break down the importance of that so that people can truly know that and hear that, you know, allowing God to speak to your inner woman, to your inner man, just to your inner self, like the importance of that.
And he will, if you invite him in to do so. But you have to think about God as a gentleman. Like you have men that are fast and furious that'll take the lead, but God is a gentleman. You have to invite him in. So I invite him into my platform. He's not going to, you get what I'm saying? And I think that's important, that if you really want to, if you know, on that side of spirituality, and if that's what you believe, and that's the God that you believe in, I'm not saying what I believe is the only way to believe, but if that's the course that you're on, invite him in. Did I speak to your question?
Oh, definitely, sister. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I just want the audience just to hear the significance of, you know, basically why that's super important. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we get in content creation and people just throwing anything at the wall, right? They're just putting any messages out there, whether it's toxic or not. They're just trying to get likes, views, clips, and subscribers. and not thinking about the effects that it's going to have on their image or other people. So that's why it's great to just, speak to those things, because it's truly important. But definitely, and three, you can rock on with number 4. And thank you for answering the question. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I want to add just a tidbit more. And I think I'll save it. What makes me different? I'll save that. I'll save it.
Oh, you'll save it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no problem then. All right, let's go ahead to the number 4. All right, so number 4 is, what will you say sets you apart from... Oh, I think that is the question. Okay, what will you say that sets you apart from other content creators? And how have you maintained your authenticity throughout your journey? So yeah, okay, so that was the question that I talked about it earlier,
Okay. So that rolls right into what I was going to say. Ain't that funny how you say, go ahead and release it? You ain't got to hold it, baby. You ain't got to hold it. So what makes me different is I have a huge advantage because I understand how to strategically and successfully go to market. I know how to brand things and put it out in market, and not because of YouTube, but because of what I do by way of profession. This is what I do for a living for other people, right? Mm-hmm. Dealing with billions of dollars, millions of dollars, right? And not for myself, but these are goals, right? When you have an engineering team, a marketing team, a design team, an IT team, a digital team, you see what I'm saying? The operational team. So I understand how to package something and send it to market. So that gives me a huge jump in front of other content creators. And the other advantage is I treat my platform like it's my 9-to-5 job, right? Mm-hmm. There are no spare subscribers. You cannot treat your subscribers like a spare tire, because if you piss them off and or say the wrong thing or take them for granted, they may never come back. So they're not spare tires. I treat them as if they're my only set of wheels. Does that make sense? So if they leave, you leaving not because I didn't treat you right. You leaving because you was picking a fight anyway. But I do my due diligence to try to show up on time, to be respectful of their time, to give them the content that they want, to not talk too much about myself, because they ain't coming to hear what I got to say about me. They're coming to hear what I got to say about what they want to hear, which is their shows, their well-being. A lot of content creators spend too much time talking about themselves, and you lose your audience. Your audience, when people are typing in that search bar, they're not typing in Meek. They're not typing in your name. They're typing in a subject. Be that subject matter expert. And don't veer away from that, because my audience is my success. So I understand that. And I understand that it's better to give than to receive, right? I'd rather make them feel good than put them in a position to have to cheer me on by over talking about myself. And then the second part of that question was what? If you can put it back up.
I got you. Yeah. So the second part of the question was, and how have you maintained your authenticity throughout your journey?
That's a great word, authenticity. In the words of Shakespeare, to thine own self be true. I'm true to who I am. I never veer away from who I am, whether you like it or not. You see me on platforms, on podcasts, on different podcasts, getting annihilated for being who I am. But I've never wavered off of my surfboard. I got to stand firmly in my identity, who I am, whether you think I'm masculine, whether you think I'm feminine, whether you think I'm old, whether you think I'm pretty, I'm ugly. I don't care, because I've gotten to a point in life where I know who I am and I'm true to myself. To thine own self be true. And I think a lot of people get caught up with the culture and the movement, and that's not what sustains you, right? That's not what sustains you. What sustains you and what keeps people coming back. Think about restaurants that you go to eat at, right? If every time you go, your fish tastes different, you're going to quit going. If every time you go, normally it don't taste like this. People come for consistency, for quality. They want to know that they can rely on you. They can depend on you to deliver time and time and time again. If you're not in the mood to deliver, don't turn on your camera. Don't turn on your microphone, because when you show up, you need to give nothing less than 110%, period.
Those are definitely powerful words, Queen Shiba. Very powerful. And that's something that I want to definitely like, take note because you definitely want to be true to who you are. But at the same time, like, the market is like, well, what the consumer needs. And so if you're able to pretty much feed the need for that consumer, that can actually be beneficial and not something that's like toxic. I'm all for that. Sometimes like, in our past time, we had to pretty much like, destroy to rebuild because we may have an audience, maybe a huge audience that will tune in, but if you're only tuning in to only see like the negative side of, Black people, and that's not really our prerogative, then we have to pretty much show you something a little bit different. We have to show you something that will make it apparent that, look, I'm not here for like, the so-called Black YouTube beefs. I'm not trying to join no beef sector. I'm trying to join into a revolution that can actually help content creators to grow and help other people to grow. Because look, for you have a large platform. Obviously, like you have a lot of people that are really supporting you because you are catering to the needs of them. Anytime when a person shows that how much like that he or she cares like for the people that supporting, that's the reason why that we keep going. They're gonna keep coming back. Especially when probably all they hear right now is the toxicity throughout like social media. I just want to just make sure that my team and I we have like a space that be comfortable, let us know your thoughts, in a more respectful way. So I'm glad that you have like a platform that caters like to like the people's needs. So definitely a salute again for that.
Yeah.
I want to send a special shout out to some special people that I see. Definitely giving a shout out to everybody who's in the chat.
Mr. Best, I can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear
me? Yeah, you was far away.
Oh, can you hear me now?
A little
sort
bit.
of.
No? Okay, it's my audio. Okay. I'm going to drop down, come back in.
Okay, he said it was going to drop down. Okay. No problem. Well, Mr. Best, he'll be right back. Like once he fixes audio. So again, shout out to everybody like in the chat. Sorry that I can't do the usual and read everyone's comments, but I see you guys like like K Marion, Big Rick Slaps, Ruthless Truth, Quantum Love. I see everybody. Miss Nebraska. Yes.
I speak clearly. Let me give my people some love. Bridget Owens, Travel One. Who else? Let me see. Hold on. Charmaine H, Deborah Smith, One in a Million, Shadow. I see y'all. Antoinette Crosby. I had to go through like a rap song. And if I miss anybody, y'all know I got you next time.
Exactly. Salutes to Rush, Stan, the man, and everyone else too. Jordan, I see you as well. So thank you. Thank you everybody for tuning in.
Absolutely.
Also, too, if you guys like the content that we do, I would like to pretty much highlight this if I could find this real quick because I know we have like a lot of banners, but follow us like on Knowledge and Relationships on YouTube. I mean, you guys are watching us on YouTube right now, anyways. If you guys can, which is free, please subscribe to our channel. And then for the people who are part of Knowledge Relationships, please like subscribe to the Queen Shiba as well too. So please subscribe to her network. I also have her YouTube link pinned in the description as well. So please definitely check her out. And everybody, please support us as well too. So, and also follow us on Rumble. But all right, welcome back, Mr. Best.
Okay, is my audio clear now?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. Okay. So yes, I just want to give a few shout outs to everybody in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. I want to give a shout out to Big Rick Slaps, and also want to give a shout out to Quantum Love, Quantum Metaphysician. I see you in the building. But I do have a question for Queen Shiba because you say you're a reader, right? So you love reading. What is your top 5 favorite books?
Okay. The Traveler's Gift. Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Hold on.
Sure.
Daddy loves his girls. Daddy loves his little girls by T.D. Jakes. I think that's number 3. The Count of Monte Cristo. That's number 4. And number 5 was the 5 a.m. Club. Woo! That's life change. You want to change your life? Read the 5 a.m. Club. Oh my God. It's amazing. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
They're all by men. I study a lot of rhetoric from men.
Oh, okay. What's the intriguing part? Like, okay, as far as like, well, what's the motive for studying, like, about us, like about men? Is there something that you want to know more about men, or?
No. I think the art of war is different for a man and how he approaches life than women do, and they approach it with no fear. And that reminds me of my brothers. And like I said, how I came up, a lot of times when I'm thinking in my natural state, I'm plagued by fear. I'm plagued by hesitation, right? And if I play too much into my feminine side, I wouldn't do a lot of stuff. I have to talk myself into moving forward almost every day, right? And really urging and pushing and saying, you got to be bold and just close your eyes and jump. And sometimes when I go back and read some of those books, it's a great testament to courage and what that looks like and what that could look like for all of us.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely have to check these books out then. So thank you for sharing your top 5 with us.
Yeah, thank you for sharing it. I think with definitely. I think with men, I think we do have fears, but I think through our logic, we know how to process through it. And because women sometimes can be more naturally emotional, just do a lot of things, chemistry-wise, biology, things of that nature. Sometimes the fears can overwhelm y'all. It's not because y'all trying to, it's not because y'all weak, it's none of those things. So women are not weaker than men, none of that. So I don't want anybody starting that in the comments, none of that. So that's not what it is. Okay.
And I'm highly emotional. Emotional. Ask my husband today.
Men are too.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, I mean, we all. So here's the thing, right? Everyone has the emotion. It is the only difference between men and women is that society dictates how we're supposed to articulate our emotions. See, we're not allowed to, cry. We're not allowed to, say certain type of words or express certain type of feelings. So what's more socially acceptable is basically where we're getting angry. And so when we're expressing that anger, that's where it's okay, it's more acceptable for a man to express himself, which of course it leads to other, destructions, because as they say, the most dangerous man is an highly emotional man or emotional unstable man. So
somebody said women are the weaker vessel. Yeah, physically we are. Physically, we are.
But we all, like I said, both men and women, we have our strengths and we have our weaknesses. Which that's why when we're together, okay, combined into as one, one unit, we can actually make things happen together. So, but people will, say mostly that type of stuff if you continue with this frivolous gender war that you mostly see on these YouTube platforms. Now, I got a number 5 question for you.
Okay.
And so, and like I said, I still got some more. So hopefully, you'll bear with us with these questions. But have you faced any challenges during the development of your content? And if so, could you please share some of the obstacles you've encountered and how have you overcame it?
Yes. It's funny. So my husband thought he was helping me, and when he learned that I wanted to do YouTube, I told you if I rely on my feminine, I'm not going to take that step. And I was like, I think I want to do it. And actually, he was like, you should do it. And I'm like, I don't know. He went out and bought me a computer to do it. And he thought he was helping. He really bought me a notebook So that's a huge challenge in and of itself for me, because it slows me down a little bit, but because he bought it for me with the right intent and from love, sometimes I'm not as quick with editing and flying through like I could, on a computer. But guess what? It was from his heart. I'm not going to trade it in. I'm not going to upgrade because I think that would be insulting to him. So that's one of the biggest challenges I face, the equipment that I have. But I refuse to upgrade because it came from my husband.
That's very kind and sweet. Like, you know what I mean? and this is what I'm talking about. Like, see, both men and women, we compliment each other when we're actually doing the right things, when we're actually playing our roles and our positions. But sometimes you do have people that are greedy, or people who are, I would just say, highly ungrateful. And unfortunately, I've witnessed people who got gifts and was like, that's not the gift that I want. You got the wrong gift. Let's go take it back and then get something more greater. But they don't know how crushing it could be to their partners when you tell them that. You're just more focused on like what you need to get or what's comfortable for you. So.
I still don't know how to use it, but I figured out the basics. I was like, what is this? Hold on. Wait a minute. I had to Google some stuff and go through a few tutorials, but I was like, I just need the basics of how to use this thing. And I got it. Yeah,
most definitely, Thank you for sharing that. All right, number 6. As someone who has found tremendous success on social media, how do you navigate the ever-changing landscape of online platforms and continue to stay relevant to your audience? You kind of gave a little answer to it earlier, but I'm going to just let you speak on that part.
Okay, that's good. Keep your blinders on. Like a bit horse or like a race horse. You got to keep. It's so much going around you, and initially, when I first started, I found myself trying to listen to this one, listen to that content creator, what they're talking about. And I just wasn't quick enough. I couldn't do it because I got a 9 to 5. I got a 9 to 5. And God said, you're not supposed to be doing that anyway. Why? If you're going to listen to them for admiration because you admire what they do and the work that they're putting in, but not because you want a competitive edge. Right. Now you're going outside of your lane and what I'm trying to do with you. I need you to get your little butt back over here, put your blinders on, focus on your data, your analytics on your dashboard, and see what your audience is responding to and give them more of that, okay? Give them what they're asking for. Give them what they respond to. And then in addition to that, you can sprinkle a little bit of you in there along the way. Does that help a little bit?
No, it actually makes sense, which is why it's important, like, for the ones who was listening and watching in the chat, a lot of times I try to, get the chat's opinion. Sometimes it could be a tough crowd, because maybe you're listening, but you're probably tired with doing other things, which is totally acceptable. But, it's very important for the chats, themselves to speak up, to say, hey, like, I want this topic. I want that topic. Let's talk about this or whatever. So anytime, like, if you guys like have anything that you want to discuss, any concerns, or just, think about something that would just be fun and creative, feel free to shoot some ideas, like, to our platform, and to other content creators as well too, because your voice is definitely important to us.
Yeah.
And it helps us to be even more creative and push beyond our limited boundaries, I will say.
One thing I will say for any other content creators that are listening, a lot of times the energy on social media and these platforms is to be the first one to it, to respond. If something hit, like, you see people jumping on it in 24 hours. And one thing that I've learned is you don't necessarily have to be the first one, just be the best to do it, be the best to cover it. Even if you 2 or 3 days late, have your stuff lined up, have your notes to where people are like, everybody else was saying this, but you brought it this way. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to be the first to do it. Just be one of the best to do it. One of the most thorough, one of the most accurate and one of the most reliable to do it, and know how to engage your audience while doing so.
Wow, I like that. Let me ask you like let me see. Now I'll say that for a later question, but
hold on, M3. Hold on. I want to give a special shout out to Karim Bliss Johnson. Salute, family. Thanks for pulling up. Definitely appreciate you. You know, definitely check him out. Dope content creator. You know what I mean? Dope brother, man. He also he does a lot of great things in the community as far as helping our people. So salute to you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you for tuning in. So Queen Shiba. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I have this question. You know, in your career as a flight attendant, your illustrious career at that, where was your favorite places to travel to? You know what I mean? Which places that you seen it on your board and you like, I can't wait till we land there. What were your favorite places?
Anywhere there was good food. I love like exotic food. I love Brazil because back when I was flying, the dollar went far. Now, some of the men like Brazil for different reasons, but I like Brazil because I knew that the flight crew, we were about to tear it up, like by way of restaurants. You literally, when I used to fly, could take $50 and literally ball till you fall in some of these foreign countries and tip good and just really have a good time. So I love to go to Brazil. I love going to Tokyo, Japan. It's a long way, but they are so mannerable, so clean, so organized, so disciplined, and they say very little. A very astute culture. And that to me, that's symbolic of personal power, where a person doesn't have to say a lot to be powerful. So I learned a lot about self-awareness and self-containment from the Japanese. I also like the Middle East, right? The men don't have a lot of reverence for women, but that's okay. It forced me to come out of my comfort zone and adhere to their cultural standpoints and their cultural values. Because when I flew, if you wanted to fly international, you actually had to take a cultural training to go to different countries. So if you wanted to fly to the Middle East, you couldn't just get on a flight to go. You had to go through a cultural training on the Middle Eastern culture, right? And their religious cultures, and don't look them in the eye, and they can ask you what they want to ask you while they're serving you. If he asks you, are you clean? You have to say, yes, I am. You cannot speak to him unless he speaks to you. You serve him first. A lot of things we learn, like they're not supposed to drink, right? In their culture, but they would come back to the galley, the Middle Eastern men, when we were flying to Tel Aviv, which is, when we fly to Tel Aviv, and they would come back and sneak and drink. We couldn't correct them. We couldn't say no, because in their culture, a woman doesn't have the right and or the authority to talk to a man like that. So it really gave me a lot of experience to be stretched and molded and learn. And I like Paris. I love the wine there. I got so drunk there one time. Woo, Lord have mercy.
Oh, wow.
I was toe up, baby.
Queen Shiba, you were turning up? You turned up in Paris?
I was toe up. You hear me? I ate good. I drank wine. Their wine is different than the United States wine. I think it doesn't have the sulfites.
I bet it is.
It don't have the sulfites in it. You know? And I was just pouring those. I was younger too. I was pouring that wine back. Listen, I paid for it the next day because you got to fly all those hours back to the US. I barely made it on that plane. You still have to show up. And it taught me a lot of discipline flying. It taught me to show up on time. It taught me that, so what if you're drunk? You did it to yourself. I bet you won't do it again. But don't you dare call out because you're drunk. You did it to yourself. It's going to be the most valuable lesson. I'd never called out because I was drunk and left my crew, right, short-handed. It was a valuable lesson for me. It also taught me, I was the oddball out because I left college early, and a lot of those people were older. And I remember I wouldn't conform, y'all. I would not conform. And I remember, you know what? You can learn a lot from races. You can learn a lot from different races if you just see people for people. And I'll never forget this pilot. We were flying to Paris, and he pulled me aside. He said, listen, you're right, but sometimes being right doesn't necessarily mean you win the race. You're gonna have to conform if you want them to accept you. Go to dinner with them. Have a glass of wine with them. Open up to them. And that's when he taught me how to be a little bit more diverse as a Black woman. And I cannot remember his name, but I really appreciate him pouring that into me because he didn't have to do that to me. He saw me as a young girl struggling with this cultural thing, right? The only Black girl on the plane flying to Paris and just like a fish out of water with all of these white women. And they weren't necessarily mean. I'm not going to say they were mean. It was just a huge age difference. I didn't want to conform. They didn't want to conform. And he poured into me like a father would pour into a daughter. And when he told me how to play the game, I never forgot.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can we put, before I build on what she just said, can you put Mr. Johnson comment back up there? He said alcoholic.
Mr. Johnson, let's see where
the alcoholic drinks are more. The alcoholic drinks.
Oh, I'm looking for it right now. It's a lot of comments. I can't.
I got you.
Yeah.
Alcoholic drinks are much stronger overseas. Living in Germany for 2 years, that was learned. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna be careful when I go overseas. I'm definitely careful. You know what I mean? But I definitely want to build on what you're saying, Queen Shiba. I believe that that's essential. You know, if you watch the movie The Matrix, Neo didn't conquer the Matrix from the outside, and they conquered it from the inside out. You know what I'm saying? And you have to learn the system. You have to learn the game, and you have to, conquer it from the inside out. But if you're trying to, be belligerent, and you're trying to always, buck the system at all times, and you're trying to do it that way, you're never going to get ahead. Never. You have to learn the game, learn how to play it, and master it so that you can change it from the inside out. That's the only way it's going to work. You know what I mean? That's the only way that it's going to work.
And that's how I learned how to drink wine. I didn't drink no wine. I drink Coke. I didn't know nothing about all of this beautiful food that I now have a palate for. I went to Paris. Do y'all have hot wings?
Wait, but did they have them though? That's what I want to know. Do they have them?
And then I said, what about a cheeseburger and French fries? And these people really took me on, and I really think, I know sometimes in the world that we're divided by race, but I can say a lot of races are so open to just kind of taking you along and say, well, they don't have this. What about this? And I wish we would do a little bit more of that with each other, give each other a little bit more grace and not as stern and hard with each other, and love on each other just a little bit more.
No, I definitely hear you on that part.
Mr. Johnson also shared these towns: Mainz, K-Town, Wise Baden. I don't know any of those towns. Maybe Queen Shiba knows them.
That's in Germany, ain't it? Like Wise Baden?
Probably so.
Or no?
I guess Mr. Johnson will elaborate in the comments. Okay. So definitely let us know.
Yeah. But see, he says race isn't really a thing overseas.
He's right.
Nationality matters more. Okay.
He's absolutely only class and how you carry yourself.
Okay. And he says, Ghost, salutes to Ghost, right? He says it's a city in Germany. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Germany. Okay, yes. All right. Thank you for that. And then let's see. Williette says, I will tell everyone and everybody when Queen Shiba will do anything, she's always come for her members, and I feel so very blessed for that. Thank you, Queen Shiba. Okay, nice. You have a lot of love, man, and that's I could definitely feel that. Feel the love and that energy from your supporters. So, and and most of them, it's talking about traveling and stuff. So yes, it is important to travel because a lot of us, we get so focused on just where we're at in the United States that just imagine within the United States you have the hood, you have the suburbs. Okay. If you always feel like this is where you belong and you don't branch out anywhere else, you're going to get stuck. So think about the United States, Germany, Japan, Brazil, those other places that most people never really go to, but we judge people based off of our, current standards, our country standards. So we got to make sure that, hey, before we kind of judge everyone or look at, oh, the world's just terrible because the way how, people treat me here in the United States. Try some other countries and maybe you might meet some friendly people. So
it's beautiful. Like try a lot of other countries. Try a lot. Just go with friends and have fun and try the foods. And you know what I do want to do? If any, like I want to go when the Olympics is in a foreign country and go watch the Olympics. That's one of my bucket list items.
That would actually be beautiful too. I would love to do that. I suppose it's just always watching on TV. So yeah, good thought. All right, let me get to. I'm going to skip number 7 because I think I worded this like not so correctly in the grammar. But number 7 would have been like, okay, basically like has collaboration with other people, other YouTubers played a role into like your personal YouTube career. If you want to answer that, you can feel free to, but it's pretty much incorrect wording though on that part.
Okay, sure. No, put it back up there so I can read it.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I think it played a huge part into introducing me to the world of YouTube. When I came into YouTube, I had my platform, right, and I was doing my thing on my side of YouTube. But when you think about the other side of YouTube, to be honest with you, my first introduction to the big wow side was actually from B. Taylor, because she brought me on her page to talk. I can't even remember what it was about, but she brought me on her page to talk about something. And from there, the cruise season was on there. I remember Trill was on there and maybe 1 or 2 other people. And from there, she reached back out and she's like, listen, Trill, I told Trill I really like you, blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't mind having you as a guest on the cruise season. So I think natural collaboration is extremely important and extremely viable, right? And it cannot just be one-sided, right? Even if you can't give them back at the level that they give to you, a thank you, a pizza, a dinner out, whatever you can give that's from the heart, just to say thank you for seeing me. So from that aspect of introducing me to another side of YouTube, that collaborative effort on her behalf was a very kind and generous gesture. You see what I'm saying? And then with the handoff to the cruise season, which led to a reoccurrence of an invite after an invite after invite. So there are some good people out there that don't mind putting you on. And the thing about it is I never asked. So there are people you don't have to ask. Sometimes we network with the goal of getting something. Just be who you are. Don't chase, baby, receive. And whatever it is will find you. So to speak to collaboration in that aspect, it was very important to my introduction to the other side of YouTube. And are there any particular partnerships or projects that you're especially proud of? Yes. Like recently I landed the interview of my life with the Shanquella Robinson legal team. Like you never know who's watching you, right? You never know who's watching you, which is why it's important to be you, authentically you, because those that like you gonna like you, period. No matter what come out of your mouth, right? And those that don't won't. But your helpers and your tribe will come seeking you, and they came seeking me. This wasn't an interview that I asked for. They came and they were like, listen, we really like the work and the effort that you put in. What do you think about this? And now it's led to another project that's coming down the pipeline, right? Wow. And because of that, more professional people are starting to see me. And now I got a medical doctor that's going to come on my page and talk about how she completely disrupted the healthcare field, walked away from her journey as a medical doctor from the clinical profession just to go back and reconstruct the architect of healthcare. I feel like I'm talking a lot, but that's my answer to that.
No, family. Share and build. That's why you're here. We need that love. You know what I mean? You're giving us love and insight. We need it.
Exactly. And also, like, by you're telling us this, like, we're actually learning from you right now, because there's so much stuff that we still need to grow, like in our own personalized channel. So you talking about like the collaborations, the way that you study and you learn algorithms and how to know your market and target in certain directions. it helps us out. And I know for sure it's going to help other content creators out who are listening and watching.
And don't be afraid to pay for what you're lacking. If I don't understand something and somebody's got a class on YouTube, I'm gonna pay them because I need to learn it. Because that little $500 can turn into $5,000 for me. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to invest into yourselves. Whether you don't have to be a content creator, you could be a person in corporate America. You could be a person at home. And if you want to do it, and you be like, I got this part, but I'm missing that part. You know what? Take $200 or $300, whatever you can afford. Go pay somebody to teach you how to do it. That's it.
And they also have programs that we have to be in tune about as well. You know, look in your local area. There are several adult schools in your local area. If you do your research, people, you know what I mean? Do your research, find an adult school. They can teach you computer programming. They can teach you administration. They can teach you different functions, you know what I mean, in order to be successful out here, you know, in this world. You know, especially, you know, being out here in this country, you have to have a trade or a skill, or you have to be useful in some way for you to, you know, to reap the benefits of that. So, you know, and yeah, you're gonna have to pay some money for it. But listen, you know, we sacrifice our money for a lot of different things. All right, let's be honest, okay? We spend money on a lot of different things. Why not spend money, you know what I mean, on yourself in order to better yourself and better your quality of life? So,
yeah. Your local libraries too have free classes for you, by the way. Don't just go in. I know a lot of people don't go to the library, but if you're trying to learn data and Excel sheets and all of that, it's free. Guess what pays for it? Your taxes. So start looking up classes at your local library. You can go learn a lot of that in 6 weeks and become an expert. So if you learn it in 6 weeks, 6 to 9 months, now you're an expert. And guess what? You already pay for it because your taxes pay for it. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, make it work for your benefit. You know, I mean,
somebody said, who visits their local library for? Listen, some of them old people have been experts and they're retired. Don't get it twisted.
Shout out to librarians, man. You know, but yeah, I mean, the library, man, like you can't sleep in a library because the library is actually a good tool. I mean, let's say if you don't have maybe like the technology, if you don't have like your own personalized computer. You know what I mean? Like you have the library for that. If there's certain books, you know, that you want to read, but you don't want to have to like, you know, pay for it.
No, these are real classes by real experts, but the library's paying them. You just don't have to pay anything. It's a real person that teaches these computer classes or teaches these data classes. It's not a book. That's what I was trying to explain to them. Like start looking at the schedule.
Okay.
Yes, it's a real instructor. Some of these people are retired experts. You know, sometimes they just need something to do with their time. And that's a quick come up on learning a skill if your income is limited. Or shoot, not even if your income is limited, if you're not trying to pay a university.
Yeah.
I
get you. Wow. Okay. So, all right, I'm learning something new about that. So, thank you for correcting me on that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was me have a donut. Says, bro, who visits the local library? Shouts to me have a donut. Okay. Now, man, this is good, man. I'm glad that we're having this discussion. The next question is, let me see, number 8. In the world of social media, privacy can sometimes be a concern. How do you balance sharing your personal life with your followers, excuse me, while maintaining your own sense of privacy and boundaries?
It's easy. They can only see what you put out. They can only see what you put out. So I put out enough so that they get a feel of who I am, both in front of the camera and behind the camera. And I put out enough that they can see the consistency in my life and there's no gaps. I put out enough so that I can establish myself as an expert if I'm on a relationship panel and I'm talking about men and women. So when I say that, they can say, okay, she got a husband. I can see her background. She's in her house. I can't see her whole house. She got a couple of pets. Oh, she cooks. I give enough to establish my credibility and my credentials But then on the flip side, if I'm on a different panel, I put out enough to show that I'm qualified to talk to an expert or a legal professional with a nationalized, sensationalized case, right? I'm educated. I've gone to school, but I don't overplay my part because she's the expert, not me, right? I put out enough to show that I'm fun and I'm human. And every now and then you may catch me at happy hour. And then I put out enough behind the scenes with my members. Some of it I reserve for my members. And if I'm having a bad day, I'm like, oh, I'm so happy to see y'all. I'm so happy to talk to y'all today. Your girl was struggling. Anybody else struggling? This ain't my panel. This is y'all's panel. And then that's what I do. But I never give too much. I give enough, but not too much. Does that make sense?
No, that makes like a lot of sense too. And quick question. I just want to make sure I be mindful of your time. So
I'm fine.
So you're good, okay? Because I know we're getting down to like the nitty-gritty and stuff, but eventually we will start like talk about relationship questions as well too, like as a bonus though. But and are you okay? Like if we also bring up certain guests to our show?
Yeah. Let me refill my wine. Let me know. Give me like 60 seconds. But I'm rolling. I'm good. Okay, when I carve out time for my commitments, I carve out time for my commitments.
Got you. Okay, got you. All right. I appreciate that. Let me get to like number 9 because I want to kind of dig into it, right? Many influencers have experienced the darker side of fame, such as online trolls, negativity. How have you managed to cope with how have you managed to cope with and rise above these negative aspects of social media?
Hey, Anan, I see you. Okay, so how have I managed that? So I experience that more so in the manosphere when I go to their side, right? But you got to know what side of the Red Sea you're on. So when you part the Red Sea and you're on their side, you got to know that comes with their territory. So they say whatever they want to say with me. So how do I manage that? Number 1, don't read the comments after the show is over. I move forward, not backwards. I've had people they said that. Don't call me with that. I don't care what they said. They say you're mad. I don't care what they said. They said there's no way you could be married talking like that. Yeah, I'm supposed to talk to them like that. It's time to go to war. They not on my side. Right on my sweet side of YouTube. I'm on their tactical war side. So I'm going to pull my sword, and I'm going to go to war. They're not here to hear me recite poetry. They're here to have a good time and go toe-to-toe in a healthy, good debate. And that's what they're going to get. But at the same time, some of them cry. You're supposed to be sweet. No, I'm not. I'm supposed to be sweet to my husband, not to you. You see what I'm saying? So how do I handle that? Number 1, never look back. When it's over, it's over. Don't read the comments. Keep it moving. Get ready for the next show. Just like an athlete, you're only as good as your last game. And then what was the second part of that question?
The second part of the question is, how have you managed to cope with and rise above the negative aspects of social media?
Don't overindulge. I pull the plug when I'm ready. I show up when I'm ready. When I don't want to do it, I don't. But it's been good for me in my career path because I have a very, very demanding job. See, some of their personalities is just like corporate America personalities, right? And it's taught me it's stretched me a little bit. It's taught me to sit a little bit more comfortable in my seat in corporate America when I have other people coming at me, and to just say, okay, it ain't personal. But if I hadn't gone on that side, I wouldn't be able to sit and navigate some of the complexities that I am able to do a little bit more better. But I do recognize what it is, right? Don't go to the manosphere to be uplifted and treat it well and think that they're going to roll out the red carpet for you. So it's a little bit of balance if you choose to venture over there. That's probably the most negative outcome I've had. But I also realized that nobody dragged me over there. I went over there.
Okay. Thank you for this is good golden nuggets. So all right. So in 15 minutes chat, I will post the link in the public if you guys would like or ladies would like to come up, have a good conversation and ask Queen Shiba some questions.
Oh, okay? They're gonna ask. Oh my God. I'll answer whatever. Y'all can ask me anything.
No problem. So we're gonna get to it. So just bear with us for like a good 15 minutes, and then
Okay.
once we hit to like let's see, around let's just say like 7:30, ish or whatever. Like we're gonna open up to the panel. But I do have to ask, right? For the ones who I'm not familiar with, right? I do have to ask you guys to please, like, cam up. You can cam up in the backstage, and then we could verify you, or just cam up, because that's what I usually prefer, anyways. So we all get to know each other and have a conversation. All right. So, number 10 is like, could you share some insight on your strategies to monetize your online presence and turn it into a successful business?
Absolutely. Can you share some insights on your strategies to monetize your online? So don't think in that. Oh yeah, I'm giving. Okay, yeah. Let me. Yeah. So the first thing if you are, this is not just for content creators. This is if you're corporate America. If you work for yourself, take this. You can apply this to any business strategy. Where do you plan on being the next 2 to 5 years from now in business? Right? If you don't know that, then you've skipped a step. That's the first thing. The second thing is treat your platform, treat your business as if you're already there. See, I'm not speaking as where I have room to grow. I speak as if I've already made it. Does that make sense? Whether my profits match it or not, I'm still going to carry myself like that. You're not going to know I'm not making it financially because I'm never going to give you less than I've made it. That's the first thing. You need to carry yourself where you're headed and not where you are. You need to carry your platform where you're headed and not where you are. That's the first thing. Put that question back up. I'm sorry. And how do you turn it into a successful business? There really are no secrets. The number one secret, if you want to call it a secret, is consistency. The same thing that keeps you going back to your best restaurant because the food is the same. It's good every single time you go. Consistency. And every now and then they may add a new menu item. And you're like, okay, that's different. That's new, but they don't completely overwhelm you with change. And then you stay moving with your audience, stay moving with your market. You see what I'm saying? Don't stop and expect them to move with you. You got to move with them, right? If you go to a restaurant and you start to notice people are saying, do you have a margarita? No, I don't have a margarita. You don't have a new margarita. And they're asking and you're not providing it. Eventually they're going to go to a place that's serving them what they need. So move with the market, move with your audience. And you say, well, how do I apply that in YouTube? Have you ever gone on another platform and you sat in the audience and saw some of your members tuning into content you don't cover?
Yeah, I do take a notice to that.
And that don't mean you should cover it, but just be mindful of their interest because that's data.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It's a catch-22 because I'm very keen to okay, what, especially what's going on. I'm not, saying no names or whatever, but what's very current. And I know right now there's a lot of content creators that are taking advantage of that opportunity. It's just that, well, let me ask you this, and this is just like a question on the side, but what do you say to content creators who are not really into promoting things that is negative, but then yet, of course, the majority of people who will most likely tune in is based on something that's negative. How do you turn something that could be in a bad situation, but then still make it to where you're not joining the slander ragging?
So you're supposed to be talking about what I would say to that content creator is, why are we focused on what they're doing? What have you been called to talk about? Right? And typically when people are saying, well, they're over here talking about this, they haven't really figured out what their lane is. Because when you figured out your lane, your job is to dissect it and you may have a big subject matter in your head. I want to cover this topic. So start to dissect it bit for bit. And okay, how can I cover it from this angle? How can I cover it from that angle? A lot of content creators Here's why I feel like they don't have the longevity or won't have the sustainability, because everybody wants a spectacular start. And that's an unrealistic way to go into it. Everybody wants to jump in making the money. No, that's not how this works. You cannot cheat the process. You looking at somebody that's been in the game 8 years ahead of you, and you're looking and you're hearing them talk about the profits that they're making. Anybody that's cheating those laws is because they came in with an advantage, either negativity or preparation that you've never seen. So I've come in with preparation that you've never seen. I've been preparing all of my life. I've been facilitating all of my life. I've been pouring into the community all of my life. I've been advocating for women for numerous amounts of years. So I have a background. So the preparation that I came with, you didn't see it in the working. So it looked like I came out of nowhere. No, this is years and years of work. Now I'm opening up a camera and plugging in a microphone, exposing myself to a different audience that didn't know I existed, but I existed in this world of corporate America or in the community. So don't look for a spectacular start. Look for a true start, a genuine start that's true to you and your calling.
Wow. Thank you. That really helped. Man. You know, there's gonna be I'm gonna have to pretty much go back to the replay like once we finish like the live stream, because I'm like, man, a lot that you said is definitely golden nuggets. You know what I mean? It's something that you could look back and add that to a list of longevity of learning, because you know, not a lot of content creators like think that way. Or I would just say maybe the average content creators. We're just always like, look at it as, oh, let's just produce content, put a video out there, and hopefully one day the algorithm just gonna send it over to like a whole bunch of people. But yeah, it does start with, knowing what your audience like the most and what they're tuning into, but still staying true to like, who you are, your morals.
And being okay with the process. It's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Yeah.
If you've never run a marathon and you go out there and give it your all, you don't have nothing left. You gonna, what do they call it? You're gonna tap out. You're gonna tap out, right? You gotta train for that. You gotta put in the work, the discipline, the dedication, just like you do in any other trade.
Oh, yeah,
you cannot cheat the process. And a lot of people get distracted by what other folks are doing. And also a lot of content creators pour into other people's. How do you give another platform and you neglecting your own home? That's a huge mistake. I don't ever overgive. I may show up somewhere, but not more than I do for myself.
Yeah, most definitely. Me have Donna says, this level of positivity is hard to achieve, but not impossible.
That's true.
Well, here's the thing, right? There are a few content creators that actually changed my mind otherwise. That I actually watch, I look up to, and I'm like, wow, you have a positive movement, but you have so many people supporting you. Like thousands of people supporting you. And you're not talking about stuff that is like reckless. You're not slandering no one. It's just how you control your stage, but then yet how you could still cater to the needs of the people. So I'm gonna definitely take heart into it.
You see it every day. You just don't realize it's in front of you. You see, like, look at religious stuff. But you see how they're curtailing their message to talk about relationships and apply what is it called? Scriptures to relationships, narcissism. They're covered. They're moving with the market. R.C. Blake's is a huge example of how you can take your spiritual background and apply it to the market that's relevant today without shifting away from who you really are and your purpose and your calling. There's a lot of people that are doing it. And they're doing it well. And when you get that big, you need a team of advisors as well. You have a lot of people. The reason why they don't progress, and I'm not talking about like 25,000, but after a while, you kind of click them and you're like, oh, they're talking about the same thing. They don't have a team. Now you need to get a team because now the market is way bigger than you. Now you have hundreds and thousands of subscribers. Now you need a team of researchers. You need marketing advisors. You need team to go out and get a better feel for the market, the competitive analysis, and saying this is what the millennials want to hear. This is what and then you can say, I'll give them a little bit of this, but not too much of that, because that's going to take me off of my my home base, or that's going to take me off of what I was, But as you begin to grow, you got to bring in your helpers. Got
you. Well, look, Queen Shiba, like, there's so many questions like that I would love to ask, right? As far as like, more about you, like the YouTube side. But man, we're already at the mark where like we need to start talking about the relationships aspect. So,
let's do it. If you can give me 60 seconds.
No problem. One of our guests, one of our members did show up. So, oh, there she is. I'm going to give you 60 seconds. And
I'll
then,
be right back.
No problem. All right. Mr. Best, are you still here? Hold on. I'm going to bring you up, guys, in just a second, okay? So, while we waiting, everybody please, subscribe to Knowledge and Relationships on YouTube. Thank you again for your support to our network, our channel. If you want to see more of these live talk shows, the M3 TV news, and our flagship shows, please subscribe to Knowledge and Relationships. Again, all you gotta do is YouTube it up. Shout out to DoSoto for sharing the link as well too. So definitely please support our channel, and also support Queen Shiba's channel as well too. If you are, on the knowledge relationship side and you never met Queen Shiba before, tonight is the time to get to know her. And I will be also posting the link into the comments tab too. So, all right. She told us to give her 60 seconds, give her a minute. So I would definitely give her a minute. Okay, she's back. All right, Queen Shiba, let me go ahead. I'm going to bring up, okay, Knowledge Relationships, Lady E in the building. What up, Lady E?
Hello, good evening.
Lady E,
hello, Queen Shiba, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Let me.
Salute, Lady E. Anything you wanted to ask Queen Shiba, and then you wanted to build on?
Well, I'm just running into it. I wasn't exactly sure what we were speaking on. If you want to give me a quick rundown.
Well, we were just mostly talking about how Queen Shiba started her network, as pretty much a content creator, a social media influencer. But you could ask her any question that you would like. It could be about relationships, or it could be about whatever that comes to your mind.
Okay. Queen Shiba, I'm not a fan of the gender war. However, what is your opinion on it? Why are we going through this? Do you think this is the evolution of the Black community and we're trying to figure things out? Or do you think it's a lot deeper than that?
I think it's a lot deeper than that. I think it's an evolution of some wounded men, heavily wounded. And I think a lot of women go over to try to save the day, right? And dispel some of the ideology that these men have come to stand on when it comes to Black women. Like yourself, I am not a fan of it. But somebody got to go over there and be like, hold up, that's not true. How did we get here? I could say a lot about how we got here. There's been a lot of men to establish platforms to share their feedback and their thoughts and their experiences that they've had with women, whether it's true, founded or not, validated, but to them it is. And then they speak it as if it's true, right? Based on their experience and their personal testament. And a lot of it has a lot of negative connotation to it regarding women and what most people or some people have come to believe a woman's role is and what a woman should be, right? That's not the reality of the world that we live in today. A lot of women, if they could be that, they would be that. But that's not the world we live in. A lot of women are forced to go to work. A lot of women, unfortunately, tried to have happy homes, but that wasn't their happy ending. You know, some women need a lot of work. Some women did a lot of work and it still didn't work by way of that. You know, some women came from 2-parent households. Some women came from single parent household. But at the end of the day, we're all people, and you cannot assign a detriment to a person because they didn't grow up with a father, or because she's a single mother. And for whatever reason, that relationship didn't work, and automatically you're assigning responsibility to her. It didn't work because of you. But where are you getting that from? Is it because who did that? You know, and I don't mean that in a negative. Where did you learn that rhetoric about women? You know, is it because it's something you've seen? Or it's only two things: something you saw or something you didn't see. But either way, it left an imprint on you. And now that you have a platform where you can speak it, sometimes you're not being as responsible as you can with your message because it's extremely one-sided. Let me pause. What are your thoughts?
I definitely agree with a lot of the things that you said. I'm definitely a firm believer, and it's based off of personal experience. If you keep running into the same dead-end relationships, then you have to actually look at yourself in the mirror. And you need to find what is wrong with you and seek out to get help and grow. And once you make those changes within yourself, I do feel that and based off of personal experience, once I went back out in the dating world, I met a lot of good quality men, great quality men. Yes, I've had some relationships, it did not work out, but I benefit, like there was a benefit, there was something to learn from that person. Just because a relationship doesn't work out doesn't mean that you're a failure. It's just that wasn't the person for you. And that's another thing that I feel that, and I've actually mentioned this to Mr. Best, that we are the privileged generation of Black children. And we're so used to now having everything at hand, and we've worked for everything else, that when it comes to relationships, we're not putting in the work into it. Like, I think everyone expects to meet someone and everything is just supposed to click automatically, and it's supposed to automatically flow, and it's just supposed to stay at this same level. You just hit this plateau. And the reality of it is, just like a business, just like your career, you're going to have the ups and downs. You're going to have to work to improve. You should always work on improving the relationship. No, there's no perfect relationship, but there's always room for work.
I agree.
I like her.
You make sense. I agree. I'm holding the line for you.
and I'm looking at your little that's a Maltese you got running around back there.
And and he know he's not supposed to be on the couch, but I can't say nothing because I'm on live.
You could just turn the camera off and swat them real quick. They get it. They get it.
You know, the dog's just trying to make a cameo, so trying to be famous.
I have 3 of them too. 3 dogs.
Oh wow!
I'm a dog girl. Like, I love dogs.
I just have one, and it's a long-haired Chihuahua, and she's 12 years old. And
she a big girl. Yeah.
A big 5-pound girl. She itty bitty. Oh yeah.
Okay. Let me expound, right, like on you know, what you guys was talking about, especially when you mentioned about, like, I guess the gender war and all that. One of the things that that can be a little bit irritating, and we also have another guest that's coming up too. I'm going to bring up in just a second. Is that, you know, in the space of whether it be like the manosphere or I guess red pill guys, however you want to call them, I think most of the manosphere part, you know, it's supposed to be a tool to actually help teach men, you know, about understanding women to a point where it's like we don't take, you know, whatever that we feel personally, and we learn how to deal and network and work with them. But then I guess just like, maybe the feminist movement, we became like, part of them. Except like, you have a group of men that's like trying to fault women for just stupid reasons, stupid stuff that doesn't really make any sense. And then instead of like trying to, because here's the thing, it's one thing if we keep talking about this type of topic, but if we actually gave you the solution and you still want to keep talking about women still do this and women still do that, then obviously you're part of the problem and you're not really here for the solutions. You're just here to complain because you didn't really get the 304 that you really wanted. I'm gonna bring a Scam Likely up in the building. What up, brother? How you doing?
What's going on?
Let me adjust this. There we go. Salute to you, Scam Likely. So, how you doing, bro? You have any questions for Queen Shiba?
No, I literally just came on, heard y'all talking a couple minutes ago. So I'm late to the party.
Okay. Well,
talking about the scam here, but
yeah. Well, tonight's topic, like we're pretty much having a live talk with Queen Shiba. We're pretty much getting to know her as a, like a social media influencer, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, things that she do, like as far as with her business, and pretty much like her reasoning to try to reach out to a mass of people. So yeah, we kind of cover up like a lot of things as far as like, with the business side, but we're opening the panel for people to talk about even like relationship questions, whatever that comes to your mind, whatever you think. So, but anybody else have any words for Miss Shiba or?
I'll build on the things that y'all was saying. And I would say this. I think with our people, we have to stop putting everybody in the same box. Our people are multifaceted. There's some of us who come from America. There's some of us who come from the islands. There's some of us who come from the UK. There's some of us who are still in Africa and abroad. You know what I mean? So our experience is multivaried. And it's going to be multivaried when it comes to our relationships. Not all of our relationships are going to be the same. Okay? We all are going to have different experiences and different ways of doing things. So if you meet a woman, you may meet a woman from the islands like Queen Shiba, or you may meet someone from Brooklyn. You may meet someone from the South like Lady E, or you may meet a woman from South Africa. You know what I mean? Shout out to Kimberly KMA. You know what I mean? So you may meet women from anywhere, okay? And their experience is going to be different. Just like you may meet men from anywhere, and their experience is going to be different. So our people have to stop being so judgmental and characterize people with the same thing. Not all women are wearing lashes and weaves and coloring their hair, okay? They're not all thoughts, okay? We're speaking to the lowest, vibrational people that we see out here. Not every man's on a corner, okay? We're not all drilling and deleting each other and making rap music. We're not all doing that. You're speaking to a small common denominator. We didn't all grow up in the hood, okay? Not all of us grew up like that, okay? We all grew up differently. So unless we start tapping into the Black experience fully, then our relationships can get better. But as long as we keep sinking down to the lowest common denominator, you know what I mean, just for clicks, views, and everything else, and subscribers, we're going to continue to face the same issues. And we're going to continue to keep having these circle conversations that will go nowhere. They're pointless, they're destructive, and it's just a lot of people that are bitter. Whether it's men saying that women ain't nothing, or women saying that men ain't nothing. It's just crazy. And it's not solution-based oriented, and it's not getting us anywhere. It's not helping us build a community or build anything. You know what I mean? It's just chatty patty conversation, and it's just peanut gallery conversation. And me, as a real content creator and as a content producer, I have no time for it. I have no time for it at all.
I had a question.
Go ahead, Scam Likely.
You were saying the manosphere was created to make these better men and better relationships.
I can barely hear you.
Oh. You were saying the manosphere was created to make the men get better and better at dealing with relationships with women. When the hell did they do that?
Well, that's as like, as they advertise. That was my first perception when I actually came into like the manosphere and to really like kind of study like what the guys will do. So of course, like my expectation was like, oh, all right, well, you're here to try to teach like young men, especially if it's the black manosphere, young black men how to be like successful, not only just in relationships but successful in career choices and in life. But over time, like I mean, you see something that's different. That is not about like what they say that they want to do or what they say that they what they go after. It was just more about like, okay, well, black women's this and black women's that, and we need to get together and keep shaming black women because God didn't put men on this earth for women. He put women on this earth for us and all that stuff. And he takes selective scriptures from the Bible to try to manipulate and say, well, yeah, women need to be submissive, which is funny because I do actually have that question in queue until that part, but at the same time, they don't really reference the other scriptures where the men are supposed to love their wives. You know what I mean? Which also, actually, I'm gonna pose this question too, like, after you, Scam Likely.
No, I'm just saying, I just came into the space, maybe listen to Kevin Samuels and then some other little things, then come into space. And wow, cool. I can click and get on panels and start trolling and rotisserie people.
Right.
And sometimes it's real conversations, maybe 20% of the time, 80% of it is that. But I wasn't aware that people were really believing that they'll stand on it. All this protect and provide, yeah, the big bag and the all these content creators have been around for years. They never sat down and told you that women are freaking and they want a man that they actually can see themselves sitting on the couch with for hours and hours, years and years. Meaning your monkey ass attitude and the way that you talk and the way that you communicate supersedes your pockets. And they ain't figured this out. They keep telling you all these high value men. But then you go to the mall and most regular people, not most of the women. They're at the post office. They're just works at that place. They're the ones that got married. There's not all these men making off. I mean, somehow all these dudes make all this money in the sky. All these women are getting this miracle solution to the point they ain't had an argument in 5 years. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I've never sat down with a woman before and they say, excuse me, now see your W-2s from 2021, please. No. Like, it's founded on fictional stuff. Then I gotta come in and start trolling people. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Then it becomes a gender war. What about the men? What about the women? And single moms? There's both sides. So I just come as entertainment, crack on some people, and then let it be what it is.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your comment, most definitely. All right. I'm gonna switch up a little bit, okay? Queen Shiba, do you have any thoughts for tonight?
On tonight? I mean, I thought we were shifting into the relationship piece. Are we? Where are we? Just so I can make sure I'm following.
Yeah, we're still talking about relationships, but I just want to make sure that hold on for a second. Remove this real quick, the banner. I do have one question, right? But I just want to make sure that we're still on the top of it, because I know there's some people that may not really know, like the manosphere and all that. Yeah. So I don't want to confuse anybody. So I know
they don't even know I hang out. They know tonight I hang out over there, but yeah. I was being honest with answering the questions, but yeah, I kind of keep it, Yeah,
no problem though. So, my question I was going to ask, right, is and it's not like a manosphere question, but it's just like in relationships in general, period, right? Do you feel like men and women are equal?
Absolutely. When it comes to breathing and life and death, absolutely. You know, dust to dust, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You know, when you come in, your gender is doesn't determine anything but your name as a baby, your gender, you know, depending on what culture you belong to. And when you die, your gender is not a factor at all. You know, what's a factor is your legacy, how you lived your life, how you were able to pour in those around you, the people that love you, the people that felt you, you know, the people that you poured into, you know, how you lived according to your purpose. You know, none of that gender stuff. Nobody's talking about any of that, you know, except they're talking about your works and the moments that they had with you. And not because you are a man or a woman, because you were you. So that's my answer when it comes to men and women. And I'm not talking about in relationship. I'm just talking about it as a damn human being. You cry like I cry. You hurt like I hurt. You need love like I need love. You need reassurance like I need reassurance. We just people.
Yeah.
You know, that's like people saying they better than you or they different than you because your skin is darker. I mean, you know what I'm saying? At that point, we can just start to divide and divide and divide. It depends on what you choose to focus on. And we all choose a different focus. My focus is to edify and give life, not take it away from somebody. But like I said, on the manosphere, when I go on the manosphere, I have to gear up. I got to talk completely different. But on this side of YouTube, where I'm at and what I do with my people and how we pour into each other, is love. It's edification. It's all those things that keeps me going. And as a result, my cup runneth over. So I get to pour into other people. And I'm not pouring into people because it's a man or a woman. I'm pouring into you because of you. And that's the way I view men and women. Now, when we talk about the physicality and the logic and the emotions, we're different. We're different, you know, in that aspect. And we're geared to carry on different roles and different responsibilities just because of the way we're built. But when it comes to equality, I see you as a person. I really do. And I'm not going to not give you something because you're a man or a woman. That's it.
Man, that's well said. Actually, that's the first for I'm hearing anyone say that, you know, that we are equal. And I definitely totally understand like your point of view of things. I think when that question is usually like, you know, posed, they get too like technical with it, like, well, you know, like they're not really equal because maybe it could be like the pay gap, you know, the pay difference, you know, which I'm not really knowledgeable about that part, you know. I just hear what I usually hear other people say, or when it comes to, and they go into like dating relationships because they feel it as, well, women think differently, men think differently. I mean, we all think differently as a people. I just think society has made it a lot harder for us to really see our true value as human beings. There's always going to be something that's going to divide us, even if it's not relationships. It could be like classification, you know. What class are you on? Like, you know, are you in the higher class? Are you in the lower class or whatever? You know what I mean? And people, they get caught up into that.
Yeah. I mean, that's why when I'm in the manosphere, I talk about the 3-to-1 ratio. Women completely disagree with me.
Mm-hmm.
OT, yay. Thank you, OT. We see you. Come get that bike.
Yeah.
He knows what I mean. But I tell women 3-to-1 ratio. You know, when you date a man, if it's your husband or not, well, what is that? 3-to-1. If he takes you out 3 times, take him out to 1 time, and don't go under what he took you. If that man took you to a nice steakhouse, take him to a nice steakhouse or higher. A lot of women are like, oh no, I'm the woman. No, but would you take your homegirl? If your homegirl took you out 3 times, or your mother-in-law took you out 3 times, or your auntie took you out 3 times, would you not take her out, or would you allow her to keep pouring into you? Because at that point, you become a user, right? That's why I say I see us as equal. Men need love too, right? Men need to be reminded too. But you don't really get to dig deep in those type of conversations on that side. But I try to say it, you know, I go over a lot of people's head, and then I get back and say, well, let me go fight, because they just want to hear fight over here, you know. But yeah, we're equal in that manner, especially when it comes to love. Yeah.
And we totally have to see that. We have to see that, and because when we're not working as united front, the ones who are the most vulnerable is our children. Our children are the ones who get left behind. Our children are the ones who suffer. You know what I mean? Because we're adults. You know, we're adults. We're supposed to have the mind of an adult, the emotion of an adult, and we're supposed to take care of those around us who need that support. And the ones who need the support the most is our kids. You know what I mean? Especially those in the inner city. They truly need our help. You know what I mean? That's why the crime rates in the inner cities are at an all-time high. You know what I mean? Because us adults, we're busy fighting online about, you know what I mean, somebody ain't being submissive. Like, all right, they're not being submissive, then move on. You know what I mean? Find someone who wants to submit and do the things that you believe will work for you and your relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It will bring peace to your home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as we're doing this, the ones who are suffering the most is our kids. And that's what we have to see.
Very, very well said to that, you know. Well, let me ask you this question. Now, a lot of people, they usually take this question the wrong way, like, should women be submissive? But here's the thing, right? What do you think when you hear that term? Oh, you're muted.
So what do I think when I hear that term? It depends. Conformity. My nickname, meek, passive, gentle. You know, it reminds me of a scripture: to be as sharp as a serpent, as gentle as a dove.
Yeah,
that's masculine, feminine, right there. Because we all possess the same qualities, y'all. We are equal. Men have feminine traits and women have masculine traits. We all have the same. What happens is when you overindulge in one over the other and you get out of balance. And that's when you say an overly emotional man becomes very, very dangerous. An overly unsubmissive woman becomes unattractive in a lot of ways, right? So what do I think about submission? It doesn't mean give all. It means conformity. You conform and you become molded like clay. But do you know how long it takes to mold clay? There's a massage of that. You massage her heart with your love. You got to touch that thing to make it submissive. You got to pour into that. Think about the potter's clay. I mean, the potter's.
Yeah.
Am I saying it? Do you see how he touches it? And the wheel goes around. He's touching that. He's pouring into her. You can't sit back at the door and be like, conform, clay.
For real.
And not spin the wheel and not mold it and touch it with your love and with your authority and speaking life over that woman. You got to pour into her. There's effort. And then she becomes what you need. If we really want to talk about submission, there's an effort on the behalf of the man first. He's molding her. He's guiding her. He's spinning the wheel. And then he begins to take it slow and fast. And then now that's his wife or that's the lady. But it takes time. It takes effort. It takes patience. It's not an instruction. It's a work of art. And work of art takes time, period.
Man, that's very well said. Because you know why? A lot of people will actually get offended about that question. And
why?
Usually you said why?
Mm-hmm. I got to plug up my computer. I'm listening.
No problem. They get offended because they take it as if we're actually giving the command. Hey, do as I say, as a slave term. And my simplistic way is that, hey, look, I'm not trying to tell you to obey me like I'm your master. All I'm asking you is to cooperate with me. If I'm pouring out to you, I will hope that you love me enough to pour out your heart out to me, and that's the same way. I mean, both couples submit for, the reverence of God. That's the way how I look at it. And I like the way how you put it as far as like molding the clay. And salute to you, Marcus. I see you in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. But
Salute to Marcus.
It takes effort, right? A lot of work into it. Yeah, I know it does sound bad at first, right? But but when you break it down, like, when you have to push, like, like your foot in, you got to spin the clay. You're taking the time, okay, to mold it the way how you want it to be. Like Queen Shiba says, like, you can't just command clay. You have a ball of clay, you want it to sculpt it to be the best looking, right? So in order for you to, like, pretty much pour your heart in and your effort into, like, your artwork, it requires, like, some kind of care and love into it. So if you're not, in that sense, if you're not loving that woman, how can you demand that woman to be subservient to you? How can you expect a woman to trust your ability to lead when your heart is somewhere else?
Yeah.
Anybody else got any questions?
Well, I'll say this, family. I think the reason why some people take an offense because some women, they don't want to submit to anybody, and that's just their choice. I'm not saying whether they're right or wrong. That's their choice, and we live in a country that allows that, right? We live in a free country that allows you to make your own decision and choose your own relationships. And some women don't even like men like that. They don't want to be with a man. They don't desire men. They want to be with whoever they want to be with. So I think when we ask these questions, I mean, people take an offense because of, maybe their religious or moral background, or maybe, their gender specification, who they choose to be or who they choose to identify as. So that's why, when we say certain things, even if you're asking, should all men lead? Some men don't think that they should lead. Some men think, like, why I gotta lead? Why can't somebody else do it? Or why can't women lead in certain areas? So, when we ask these questions, a lot of people may feel away because we have, like I said, in our country and even within our nation, within our people, we have multifaceted experiences and we have multifaceted ways of belief, when it comes to anything, even religion. Like if you talk about Christianity, there's so many different parts of Christianity. There's Baptist, there's Protestant, there's Catholic, there's non-denominational, there's Lutheran. So there's so many aspects of it. So that's why people will, feel like, I don't know about that. Just based on, their background and what they believe in.
I like that.
I just want to say one thing that Queen Shiba said, a keyword, which was balance. And so when you're balanced, that means both sides are equal. They're the same amount. And that's what you should bring in a relationship where one partner falls short, the other one is strong. Where the other one is strong, the other one may fall short. And so I too believe that there's no person greater in a relationship, even though you have your leader who is usually the man. There's still places where he falls short, where he needs his woman to be strong. And vice versa. And so if you consistently put yourself ahead of someone that is in the household because you think you're stronger or greater, you're never going to have balance. In an unbalanced household, it's like a foundation. If the foundation is not balanced, then you're going to have cracks in the walls. You're going to have things falling out of place. You can drop a marble on the floor and it's going to go to one side of the house because there's no balance. You're going to have plumbing issues because the house is leaning, and so the plumbing is not going to work the way it's supposed to work because it's not balanced. It's not equal.
I agree. And oftentimes, like if you really start to study your man or your woman or study your partner, there was some things I would notice that my husband was doing. But when you really try to, so But I feel myself every day. I renew myself every day. You have to, y'all. We just human beings. If you don't renew yourself every day, you're going to have a very negative way of thinking about yourself and about others around you. That's why you're supposed to renew yourself. So I constantly renew myself because and then I start to think, he's saying that not because he's a man. He's saying that because he was the youngest boy of 4 boys. That's why he acting like that. He was the youngest one of 4 big ass boys. So then it takes out, it's not even a husband versus wife. He was the youngest boy in the house and he had to come through, you know what I mean? As a little one, like he had to eat or quick or I don't know. But when you really start to see people for who they are, you get a deeper understanding of them. And that's what I'm saying, Lady E. You know, when you're in a house with someone and when you really try to see them and their why, you really start to see the beauty and you have a deeper understanding. Then you be like, oh, I got that. I know how to counter that. I'm going to do this. And naturally, after a while, that's going to pull him out of that or that's going to pull her out of that. But you got to renew yourself every day because Joyce Meyer say if you don't, you could actually get stuck in seeing the negative in your partner, your wife, your husband, if you're not careful. And if you look at life like that, of course, you're going to show up in the wrong. You're going to see the negative in your friends. You're going to see the negative in your co-workers. And before you know it, you just spewing negativity about everybody. You don't see no good in nobody. And before you know it, all that's coming out of your mouth is condemnation about people. So you got to be careful too, because don't nobody want to be around a negative person. And you are what you attract. So if that's what you getting, that's what you put now. You can't cheat the code, period.
Absolutely. I don't think a lot of people really take note to that because a lot of people don't be quick to listen, but yet they're so quick to speak. You know what I mean? So because like your first inclination is to pretty much speak out your talking points as opposed to sitting back and understanding the person's point of view, you're missing like things that can actually help you out to your benefit. So definitely, like, you know, when you're attracting, you know, the way how you attract your certain crowd is basically how you carry yourself. You know, if you're conducting in a certain type of way, you will get the crowd that matches with your energy. And I wholeheartedly believe that your energy does matter. You know, if you want to put out to the universe of God and whoever else, you got to be that type of person. You got to conform. You have to change. If you don't like what you see around like your atmosphere, a lot of times people will complain, but they don't take action to their own personal selves, which is called like accountability, you know? So if you don't hold yourself accountable, you can't expect other people, you know, to conform into the way that you want people to conform as. Yeah.
Want to give a special shout out to Queen Forever 2K. Queen, did you have anything that you would like to share to Queen Shiba? Any questions? Anything you want to build on as far as our topic?
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
How y'all keep coming up here unprepared? You're
the
the third one now.
I always come up unprepared, so I'm sorry. Because I like to give M3 a hard time. Sorry, I just left a different stream. What's the question?
So basically, I open up the panel, right, for anybody to come up and ask like Queen Shiba a question, because we are having like a live talk, pretty much a live interview with Queen Shiba. I'm for sure probably some people probably missed the interview side when we was talking about like her YouTube career.
Sorry,
okay,
but I've been in and out. You know where, I'm at a place where I gotta dip in and out. So my apologies. I will watch that after. I will watch the replay. But yeah, is something y'all want to ask me?
No.
Let me ask you this. I hear y'all talking about relationships. So what is one big no that you believe will destroy your relationship?
Oh, that's a good one. Very good. Thank you. For me,
I come through.
You came through. You showed up. You crossed the finish line. Yeah. So for me, cheating is a no for me because I can never compete with an external resource ever. And I think that's something that will always linger in the back of your head. I think that's something that will be hard to come back from. That not only that person, but another one when he leaves the house. Is he really where he says he is? I just couldn't do it. Won't do it. And I remember I got into an argument, like not even a heavy debate, not an argument. I don't like to put negative, a heavy debate on a cruise season about this, because I said I would leave if my husband cheated on me. And people said, no matter how long you've been married to him, no matter how long I've been married to him, I gotta find peace of mind. At that point, I gotta save myself, right? My well-being, my mental health, because what I'm not gonna do at a particular age is give myself away to that and give somebody permission to do that to me. So my deal breaker is cheating, period, point blank.
Okay. Thank you.
No, that's fair. No, I mean, it does make sense because, I mean, once you make that commitment, that promise, and then you break it without, communication, then, yeah, I could see how that could be pretty much like a red flag, or I say like a breaking point. You know what I mean? I do hear now these days in the space people talking about like trying to go back into the Old Testament principles where pretty much like men had a whole bunch of women, the poly lifestyle and all that. What do you think about that type? When people are talking about like getting in multiple relationships, that goes for women as well too. Not that I'm shaming any community or whatever.
About cheating?
Well, not about cheating, but let's just say like, okay, hypothetically, you're married, but now your spouse want to try to do something that's different. Get into multiple relationships. Yeah, like get into like the party lifestyle.
Like what do you mean? Like give me a specific example. Yeah, like
basically your husband want to have two
get a sister wife
and have basically sister wives, and y'all be polyamorous, polygamy, polynormal, whatever.
So this is when if he really wants that. So can I get a brother husband? If you need a sister wife, can I get a brother husband? If that's what you truly believe in. Otherwise, it's one-sided. And I'm not saying I would do either or. But do you see most men? Hell no. Okay, so you're looking out for you. This is very selfish. This is extremely one-sided. And somewhere you've conjured up this fantasy that you deserve as a man. Well, guess what? I'm not subjecting myself to that as a woman. I'm not. I know some women do. I wouldn't, period. Just because, I don't know, I signed up for what I signed up for. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not about to judge nobody. But most men some men want to do that, but they don't even have the money to be able to do that. From a traditional standpoint, when we're talking tradition, those men that did that back in the day, in the Pharisees, they could afford all those women. And they would have a beautiful place for all of them to come together as a community. And it was actually done to procreate. Huh?
I've been saying that for a long time.
And it was done to procreate, to establish a legacy, to build family wealth and family value. Most men have completely added, they want it for sex.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get high off of it for the wrong
And those
reason.
men they had to have permission to marry a second wife. Like you just couldn't go and say, I want a wife. Like you had to prove that you were financially stable to take care of this second spouse and to produce children with this second spouse. If not, you would very much be denied.
And you had to be vetted by the men in the family. And they weren't vetting you for what you could do in the bedroom. They were vetting you for financially what you could do to their lineage and their bloodline, because their daughter would reproduce for you, right? So we want to make sure that we're giving our daughter away to a stellar family, a stellar bloodline, and one that's financially capable of sustaining her like we've done for all these years.
Correct. All right, let me get to the questions in the chat. I'm so sorry because I know like there's a lot of like from my point of view, with you know the questions like from the chat. I know like you just keep popping up and up, so I don't want to make sure I miss anything. So I did have one question that had started, but I forgot to read this one. Me have done says I would like to ask Miss Shiba if she finds it attracting when being taken out on fancy dates by someone she likes. No clue if she's married or not. Her husband, then okay.
If they're not sure if I'm married or not. If it's not somebody I'm dating, then my husband. So here's the cool part. I love fine dining. I'm gonna do that no matter what. I've been doing that no matter what. I take my friends fine dining. That's my thing. Some women like pocketbooks. Some women like fancy heels and all of that. Listen, I will drop $500 at a 5-star restaurant and not blink my eyes. But that's my overindulgence. Some women, they're gonna go get that purse. That's their indulgence, right? That's the fruit of their labor. Oh, if we're going, but I was doing that before I met my husband. So not only do I like it, but I give it. Does that make sense? I work hard to be able to enjoy that. And that's one of the small things I really, really like. So yes, I do like that. I find it very attractive, but my husband don't have to take me because he like high wings and all that. So it's he don't like going there. He don't like going there a lot. So I gotta do a few rounds of Wingstop before I can get there. But shoot, I don't wait on him to take me. I take him.
Yeah, and Chad, feel free to ask like any questions as well too. Let's see, fried hard. Okay.
I saw one from one of my members and she paid for it, so I want to make sure I answer it. From Jeanette Stewart. She says, does one's love language play a part? Clarity of the expectations through communications to confirm mutual Golly, Jeanette. I think love language is a huge part, but it also can be a huge divide because most of us tend to love most of us tend to love on other people how we prefer to receive love. So if you like gifts, you tend to give gifts and you think people should get excited about it, but that's not necessarily their love language. They may have just wanted you to take out the trash or vacuum the house and have it ready so that they didn't have nothing to do after work. Or if you like quality time, you tend to give quality time, whereas your mate may want a little touching and want to put their feet on you and rub my feet. Or let's sit here and you'd be like, no, you're too close. I'm here with you. So I think it's important, but I think if you don't understand that it's okay that you like to feel a certain way, that makes you feel loved, but you have to understand how they feel loved.
Okay. And then we have another super chat question. I'm trying to pull up. This one, let's see. Ray Alexander says, are we having difficulty acknowledging the fact of social class differences within the BC in regards to dating, marriage, values, and family formation?
I'll let somebody else chime in on that from the panel.
All right. Scam Likely, what's your thoughts on this one?
It's not important.
He says not important?
No.
Okay. Yeah. I think we get too deep with a lot of things that honestly that's just not really necessary in my opinion. I just feel like, man, look, as a human being, if you just live a simple life. I'm not saying don't be ambitious, but live a life where like you're not making things so complicated for yourself, especially when it comes to relationships. So you know, the social class differences, the dating, the marriage values, and all that. Like, you know what you want. Go for what you want. Go for what you need. Like, don't create like a whole bunch of like, you know, like rules like for yourself in life. That's the way how I look at it. Margaret says that, but what's the best sandwiches you can cook? Can you cook sandwiches? Okay, Margaret.
I can cook anything. Go on my Instagram. I have an entire food. I can cook my ass off. Period.
Okay, there you have it.
I'll let the other ladies answer that.
Well, ladies, let's see. What about you, lady? You know how to cook some good sandwiches?
I don't. I cook food, not sandwiches. We don't do sandwiches in this household. We don't do the deli meats and things of that nature. I did have a question for Miss Shiba though, because someone mentioned something, but I need to find out which island you're representing.
Girl, Galveston Island.
Oh.
Right here in Texas, loud and proud.
That's what's up. But no, yeah, I cook meals. I do not make my kids sandwiches for lunch. The closest thing to a sandwich they may get is a hamburger. And I'm making it from scratch.
You made the bread from scratch too?
No. I'm talking about the meat patty, but when it comes to cooking, yes, I'm doing my gumbo, the infamous oxtails, I'm doing the dumplings, I'm doing the stewed chicken, I'm doing the saltfish, I'm doing the fried snapper, the baked fish, whatever it is, I'm cooking.
Mark says, don't be shaming sandwiches.
Don't be shaming sandwiches.
Let's see. Queen, what about you? And now I'm going to get to the questions from the chat.
What's the question about cook sandwiches?
Yeah, Mark says, like, do you cook sandwiches very well?
Who said that, Marcus?
Mm-hmm.
Do you? Okay. Maybe you should go take a class. No, we don't do sandwiches.
All right. Well, there you have it, Marcus. And let's see. Another round says, shout outs to the cooks in the building. Yes, definitely for sure. You know, if you cook anything else besides like sandwiches, shout outs to you. But it's like an inside joke though. Okay, so let me get everything in order. So Kevin Moore says, Queen, I have a question. Well, Queen Shiba, not Queen 2K. He said, well, he or she says, right, how do you define everlasting love, and at what point is the present?
That's a really very thoughtful question. How do you define everlasting love, and at what point is it present? I would probably say you define everlasting love when you make up your mind, I'm in it to win it. I'm here. And I don't think anybody ever says that. I think you just get to a point in your relationship and in your life, you say, all right, I'm in it. This is my husband. This is my wife. This is the person I am going to die with. Either I'm dying before them, I'm dying after them, or I'm dying with them. So I am going to ride this thing out, and I am going to make it the best experience of my life. I don't know if that's how Black folks look at relationships, but I'm a romantic at heart. That's how I talk to myself as a Scorpio. So let me ask my husband out on a date. You want to go eat? Get up. We're going. And I'm pouring into my all. I'm putting in effort. You know what I'm saying? I'm not waiting on him. I'm doing everything that I do so that when it's time to close my eyes, I'm happy. And when I mean close my eyes, that God decides it's my last day on this earth, I got everything I needed out of that man. I gave that man everything I had. And it was all joy. And I enjoyed doing it. I have no regrets for everything that I laid out. My heart, my mind, my soul, my spirit, my tears, my fears, our money, my money, his money. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sacrifices, the remote control, you know, when you have to watch stuff you don't want to watch, all of those little nuances. And you know, on your bad days when you look, I had a really tough day today. But you know what I thought? Damn, I'm happy I got my husband. Because I don't think I could have went through that by myself as a single woman sitting in this house, taking that on, you know. And Kevin, I hope that answered your question.
Gotcha. Okay, definitely shout outs like to the people who supporting you through the good and through the bad. So Queen Shiba, right? We do have like some more questions, but we will be closing out pretty soon because I don't want to hold up your time. So I'm being mindful about that. But we'll see 1, 2, 3, 4. We got like 5 questions. Okay.
I can push through them really quickly.
Okay, for sure. Another round says these people in poly relationships are just in. Oh, that was a statement. He says these people in poly relationships are in it just that relationships, not marriage. Hold on, these people in poly relationships are in it just that. Yeah, just those relationships, not marriage. Okay. And let me see, from Joy S Pick or something. Joyce Pick. Okay. She says, as we grow older in life, we should mature in so many ways. If you choose to settle down, you should find someone that is like-minded. If not, stay doing single you. Okay. I like that comment. Let me see. Mia Dawn says, not spoiling yourself. I just mean, how much do you like being spoiled by a man you like?
I like it. But my husband spoils me. Like, I just bought you a new pair of running shoes. My husband is a motorcycle rider. He bought me a damn leather vest. Oh, thank you. I got a new seat on my bike because you complained the old one made your butt hurt. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
like that. Like, he spoils me in different ways. He's not going to just give me what I want. He's going to give me what he wants to give me.
Yeah. Or maybe probably like in another term, pretty much give like, what is needed, And I think that's like the best gift, in any relationship.
Yeah.
Right. Rush, salutes to you, my, homie. He says, so what's the remedy to keep a successful marriage, and how do you keep the fire flowing in your marriage?
Oh, my God.
That's a good question, though. I gotta get an arrow for that.
That's a good question, Casey. Is it Casey?
Well, it's a different pronunciation, right? Casey. It's like
it is Casey, but he also goes by Rush as well. And his network is the Budo Network. Everybody make sure you like and subscribe to the Budo Network as well.
What's the remedy? Communication, man. That's the first thing. Delicate communication, but if you gotta say it. You gotta say it. If you've been wrestling, here's the rule. How do I know when to communicate it? If you've been wrestling with it for 7 days or longer, you gotta say it. If it's less than 7 days, it could be ego, it could be a bad mood. You just pissed off about some stuff. Let it go. If it's 7 days or longer, you gotta say it. That's the first thing, communication. The other thing, you gotta find intimate ways to get together outside of sex. In addition to sex, sex cannot sustain you with a person. Sex is just a cherry on top. Would you eat cherries every day of the week for the rest of your life with nothing else? No, it's not sustainable. It'll rot your teeth out. You see, it's sweet, it's nice, it's good. So you gotta find intimate ways to connect with each other in addition to sexual intimacy. That's the second thing. And the third thing is you gotta be able to come together, if you're a believer, and pray. If you're not a believer, just wake up in the morning and have some mindful moments. Not every morning, once a week, once a month. What does that mean? A cup of coffee together. Sacrifice. Hey, baby, if you get up at 5 a.m., ask her, will you wake up with me today and have a cup of coffee with me and cook me breakfast? Say it. Ask it. That'll mean a lot to me. I miss you getting up. You used to do it when we were dating. You don't do it no more. But boy, say it. Don't get mad about it. Say it. That's it. And see what she does about it. And if she don't do nothing in 7 days, come back. Now we got a problem. I asked you nicely. I told you that made me feel love. You told me you needed flowers. I've been giving you flowers. I took you out to eat. I communicated to you what I needed. And I feel like I'm getting the short end of the stick. If she still don't fix it, or if he still don't fix it, communication, extended intimacy, and prayer. And if you're not a believer, mindful moments together. Does that help?
Wow. I mean, look, that's a help block for anybody.
I would say this though. I think we also have to remember that the people that we're with are still human, you know, and we got to also look at the close relationships that we had before we were married. You know, look at your siblings, look at your parents. It didn't always go well with them. At times, we disobeyed our parents. We disappointed our parents, and they brought us in this world. At times, you know what I mean? You know, they disappointed us. You know what I'm saying? So people are not perfect. So I think a lot of times in marriage, we think that out of nowhere we're going to find this perfect person, even though we never had that in any relationship in our lives. Nobody's ever been perfect in your life. You think that you're going to get married and this person is going to be the first perfect person in your life ever. And that's when people get disappointed. This person is just as human as you are, you know, and they have different ups and downs, just like you have ups and downs. And if you are expecting them to be, you know, this Superman or Superwoman that's coming into your life that's gonna just change all your world and just solve all your problems, and you got it mistaken, because they have a life too, they have a family too, they have issues too, and you have to remember that, you know. And if you don't remember that, you're gonna put all these expectations on that person, and you can have a great person who's really loyal to you, who really wants to love you, but you're putting all these expectations on them that are not going to sustain your relationship at the end. You know what I mean? You know, as Queen Shiba was saying, communication, understanding, you know, compassion, sympathy, you know, actively listening, not just listening, but actively listening. You know, these are things that help. All the things that we have in our other relationships that we grew up with, or that the household that we lived in that were healthy. Look at those, or look at those that didn't have those healthy things, and instill that in your relationship, or try to. And that way you can have a good relationship and have a sustainable marriage, you know what I mean? Or whatever you believe in. If you believe in marriage or a union or a bond or life partners, whatever you believe in. But yeah, that's what I would say.
I want to add one thing. I didn't give an example for the ladies. And ladies, one thing that can help you with the intimacy, because that's a lot of things that the men tend to complain about that has changed. You know, tell him sometimes, or ask him, listen, tonight, can you just cuddle with me? A lot of times when you touch me, it leads to sex, but I just need you to hold me tonight. Can we do that? Or can you talk to him? That's your husband. Like, talk to him, teach him, or don't grab me that hard. Touch me right here. Oh, I like that. And I'm not talking about during sex. I'm talking about like a hug or a kiss. Oh, you didn't kiss me today. That's how you make me want you, baby. Kiss me, or lower your voice tone, because now you're making me kind of shy away from you, and that doesn't put me in a mood. Or I don't know, y'all, like, we don't talk, like, black folks don't be talking like they should be, but we want the romanticism of what we see in the white movies, right? And oh, she should be this way, and a lot of times you hear that in the manosphere, or you should act like this. But we got to communicate, we got to talk to each other, and we cannot be offended when we give each other feedback if it's not rough and tough feedback. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Definitely. Yeah, communication is definitely key. Like, it's the key component to like relationships. I think it's like the first step that needs to be taught. If you want something, you know, the old saying, a closed mouth don't get fed. So that's the same thing that applies to, like, you know, intimacy, like the way how you want to be touched, the way how you want the man to treat you. It starts off with communication. And yes, not during, you know, the intercourse, because that would be kind of like a awkward moment. But definitely you want to make sure that you communicate in a way where it's going to be helpful, a helpful benefit for you and the man.
I also will say this, family. I always have the saying, don't be afraid to go and don't be afraid to stay. You know what I mean? Do the work that you have to do. So sometimes you have to do the work and you have to go. You know, because sometimes we just want a person. We want them to be something, and they're not it, and they're never gonna be it. But we want it so bad for them, right? We try to tell them all the things that we want and desire, and all the things that we believe, but sometimes they're not it. You know what I mean? Or sometimes they are it, and we do need to communicate, and we do need to work things out, and we do need to make sacrifices for each other. You know what I mean? And basically understand each other in different ways. So I think it's both. You can't be afraid to go, and you can't be afraid to stay.
Definitely well said. We do have one more question from the people in the chat. So I definitely want to make sure that's not missed. Salutes to another round. Thank you for being patient with us. That person's question says, so you believe in unconditional love? How so? Why or why not?
I believe in unconditional love. I do. But I don't believe in unconditional like.
Okay. You gotta break that down.
Have you okay, so have you ever gone when you're in high school and that crush, that girl, that guy, do you know the moment you fell in love with them, it locked in a memory of them that will be forever etched in time? That's all you know. It don't matter how much weight they've gained. It don't matter if they became a gangbanger, if they became an escort, you still see that person that you love. So I do believe in unconditional love. I believe you can love somebody even after they hurt you, even if you have to leave, right? I still got to divorce you. I still got to break up with you, but I still love you. I may not like you. I don't like you enough to stay with you. I don't like you enough to keep you in this house. I'll always love you. You still feel something for them, but you're forced to walk away. But do I love them? Absolutely. So I do believe in unconditional love. I do. But I don't believe in unconditional like. You can change a person's perception. I don't like you no more. You know, I don't like them, but I love them. You hear you used to hear that a lot from the elders, you know. But yeah, love is real. When you truly feel it, it's hard to stop loving somebody. But a lot of people confuse it with signing on to toxic and staying in bad behaviors. You can love them and let them go. So that's the unconditional part I'm saying. I'll always love you. I'll always think about you, but I know I can't be with
you. Okay, I like that. Yes, definitely a new perspective indeed. Because that's something I don't really hear ever so often. Unconditional likes, but it's a good way that you broke it down that way. So much appreciated. Queen Shiba, like, you know, I definitely appreciate you for giving your time. Hopefully, you know, we didn't like, you know, extended the time like too long, but thank you for being patient with us. And I know like our time zones is different, so I don't want you to be up too late, you know, on account of us. But I will just ask you this though, and then before we close out.
No need to apologize. I'm good. Like I know how to use the private chat.
Yeah. when you first like, you know, got the invitation to, you know, like join Knowledge and Relationships as a guest, what was like your first thought about us, and why like, you know, you decided to give us a shot?
Oh, that's a great question. You want the real, or you want me to give you a nice answer?
No. I want you to give me the real to the real.
So first of all, I thought that's nice. Like I haven't had okay, let me not lie. I've had men reach out to me on larger platforms, but not men with developing platforms. I didn't say small. I said developing.
That's okay. We are a small platform, but I know
developing.
All right.
You know what I learned a long time ago from this white man? He said, don't say I'm a small business owner. Say I'm a new business owner. I'm not small. I'm new. Evolving, developing. So when you reached out to me, and it was bold, I thought, oh, that's cool. That's somebody that believes in their platform, number one. Number two, I remember where I used to be. When I knew, I was like, I know I can facilitate and give a good interview, but everybody was telling me no because I ain't had the numbers behind me. So how dare I tell a developing platform no when I was just there 6-7 months ago? I'm always work with the developing platforms, period. They're a little bit more humble. They're a little bit kinder, more intimate, gracious, all of that beautiful stuff that goes into organic relationships. So I was happy to come. I love working with developing people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I don't know where you're going to end up. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. I don't know where you're going in the next year. I don't know. People remember people that sideswipe them.
I mean, true. Definitely true. Yeah. it's interesting because it takes me back because it's not always about the numbers. It's about who you are as a person and what type of quality content that you develop. I'm going to take that note to it because I always be saying, well, we're a small YouTube channel, we're a small channel, this and that. But thank you for resynthesizing my thinking into speaking into existence that we're still in development. Because what we have is not over yet. We just, we may not have like the massive numbers as most people have. So I get that, you have your reasons not to really respect us or take us seriously. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But I believe that one of these days that, we will expand. And it's not about the numbers, it's about expanding like the outreach. Look, by the end of the day, I don't even care about, having high numbers. What I care about is when you're listening to our platform, what are you walking away from? Are you walking away feeling hopeful, or are you walking away feeling hopeless?
Oh.
That's my conviction on that. So yeah, thank you again for your awesome time and just giving us like a lot of like food for thought. So,
y'all did so good. Like, that's what I'm saying. Don't sleep, man. Don't sleep on these developers and the maker. You see a lot of startup companies overtake these big conglomerate corporations because you slept on them. And those techie boys and techie girls come up, and before you know it, they take over the market. You never saw them coming, and they've been there knocking on your door all along, begging to develop your stuff or begging to say, I can make this better. But because you didn't recognize the name or nobody in your circle knew them, I don't do that. Hey, listen, God uses the weak to confound the wise. You can find a diamond, a gem anywhere if you're looking. I know talent when I see it. Y'all prepare. You had your questions. It's been excellent. So I can't wait to see how far you go. Y'all are already on the horizon, so just keep going. Just keep going.
Man, I'm humbled. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Whatever, Queen, but yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you, Queen Shiba. I thank you.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for accepting the invite that I bestowed upon you. And I want to thank you for just, just believing in us and helping us to build, and helping us just to grow, as a movement. Everything that you're doing within your community, within YouTube, I want to salute you for that. And I think that, we need to see more positive images of our people, but especially our sisters. We definitely need to see more positive images of that. Our people as a whole, because there's always, these negative connotations when it comes to us. So thank you for shining your light and let your light shine the brightest. And I definitely appreciate that.
Thank you. I want to give one little small story today. I think it was you right here.
Mr. Best. Yeah.
Can I tell what happened? Listen, let me tell you. Listen, I love when Black people show up. There's some stellar, like don't get it twisted. Like there's some phenomenal platforms. I sent a message. This is how quick I love quick communication. Because like I said, I'm a product developer and time is essence and is money. And I just had a quick, I was actually on a conference call. And I was like, hey, can you blah, 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 blah. And I came into StreamYard and I'm playing in the background. And I heard, hey, Queen Shiba. And I'm like, what the? In a matter of 2 minutes, y'all received my message about a technical possibility. I had no idea y'all would show up. I was in the background playing around in your studio and you showed up to fix it in 2 minutes. And I was completely blown away. And I was like, that's excellence. That's Black excellence right there. These people are like, wow, y'all completely wowed me. I know it sounds so small, but it's so big. You have no idea the impression you left on me.
Man, that was my true encounter. Definitely salute. Yeah, that was my true first encountering because I remember you sent Mr. Best and you sent me like the message, and I remember you was like, hey, like, can you add this to it? And at the time, I didn't know anything about what you was talking about. I just like, whoa, let me go ahead and check the StreamYard because phone is right there at your earliest convenience. So let me check it out. And then I saw you in the chat. So, well, my first thought was like, oh, like hopefully she's not like getting the time zones mixed up and whatever. And then that's when we had our conversation, and you helped me to like understand about I guess stream your like YouTube or social media sharing. So I was like, okay, well, let me go ahead and do that, because this is going to be my first time sharing the platforms like that. So thank you for putting the effort into helping us out. Not a lot of content creators will do that. So I truly appreciate your time and your efforts into advertising and making things better. Like, without your help, I mean, we wouldn't have met so many awesome people in the chat. So
thank you.
Exactly. And Queen Shiba, I want to formally definitely invite you to our ladies' night. It will be on Saturday, April 29th. So definitely, we would love to have you on the panel. We would love for you to grace us with your presence and with your love and with your knowledge. It will be hosted by Lady E, who's right down there. So she'll be hosting the ladies' night, and ladies' night is all about women empowerment and women having a voice and speaking on issues that affect us as a people in our world and our community as well. So yeah.
I would love to send the invite so I can block it off, and I'll be there to support and assist in any way that I can. So thank you all for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for coming. I really enjoyed this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't share links in other people's channels. I'm not like a mod, but you just type in Knowledge and Relationships on YouTube, and then you'll be able to find us. But
I think DeSosa's putting it in. DeSosa's working.
Oh, okay. Shout out to DeSosa. Thank you so much for doing so.
Salute DeSosa. Salute.
One of my mods.
Yes. And we know her as well too, though. Like, she's been around in the space. So
DeSosa works on the behalf of the Black excellence community. We should actually be giving her flowers.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She's gonna get another air horn for this as well. So thank you. Subscribe. Thank you again. Thank you for taking the time to subscribe, everyone. And like I said, please make sure you guys subscribe to Queen Shiba's YouTube channel. If you guys are from the Knowledge Relationship side and you don't know Queen Shiba, now's your chance. Go back to the replays, check out the links. I do have the link that's posted in the chat and also in this pin too. And I also have it under the description as well. So you can follow her social medias, her IG and her YouTube channel. So please, give her some support as well too. And thank you,
Queen Shiba. Once we close, if you want to, if you have a few minutes after we close, we just want to discuss a couple of business things.
Sure.
And then and then after that, we can all just drop down.
Okay, no problem. I'll stay backstage.
Okay. Before I close out, Queen Shiba, do you have any last words that you would like to say?
Yes, I just want to tell you: be bold, be beautiful. With your flaws and all, show up as who you are. God will mold you along the way. He will mold you, but you got to be open. Bloom fully. We're in spring. Bloom. And for the things that don't serve you, what is it called? He'll prune you. Mm-hmm. He'll make it right. But you got to expose yourself to the world. You got to expose yourself to you to know that which serves you and that doesn't. So don't be afraid of who you are, right? And as you begin to evolve, the things that don't will fall off.
All right, thank you for those words. All right, everyone, thank you again for tuning to Knowledge Relationships live talk with Queen Shiba, and hopefully, we see you again, on the platforms, and whenever you're streaming, and if you have an open panel, I'll definitely hop in and join. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Everybody, you guys have a good night, and we are out.
Bye-bye.
So, peace.
Good night.
knowledge in relationships,